I texted with Lee, and I said, "Can you call in a couple of minutes early?" First off, you call in between 7 and 7:01, we're starting to think you ain't coming on. But if there's a problem, like last week, we have no time. So he said he'd connect by 6:58. Uh,
Perfect.
he did say that, unfortunately, for whatever reason, in his new office, his internet is shaky, and he's called about it. And I said, so I have the backup phone number to call him on.
Okay. Boy, I'm glad I went to bed and didn't watch Madison Keys blow that.
Served for it, got broken at love in the second set, and then was up, I think, 4-2. I know she was up 4-2. I don't think she served for it in the third. Yeah. Kadarius Toney had a good day, huh?
Ooh.
5 targets, 1 catch for 1 yard. And how about that drop, huh?
And 2 drops that were.
Yep. And 1 carry for -1 yard. Yep. But
Well, the end around, both end around calls by them were just run the damn ball. Run the damn. Come on, don't try to trick them.
Although they weren't running it well, but yes.
Yeah, but
I agree.
the one down in the red zone was a huge turn. That keeps it at 6 instead of 10. Oh.
Yep.
Tell you what, that Gibbs Montgomery running back duo is going to look nice this year.
Took a while to get the running game going.
As long as they can stay healthy.
But Motor City, Dan Campbell, he's going to become a cult hero if this continues. Oh my goodness. Have they been longing for this?
Perfect coach for the city in the region.
And bite some kneecaps. Whew.
10 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. It truly is a football Friday.
Football Friday.
How the heck are you? We are Miller and Moulton. This is the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. And how about that little appetizer to get your football weekend going, huh? First game of the NFL season. And it comes down to pretty close to the end with an upset to boot. Huh? Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing great, David. Fun little night. Double wide with the football, and I have caught U.S. Open fever. I know we won't talk about that, but I enjoyed watching some of that on the side while the football game was going on. A little defense played last night, David, in week 1.
I know. We were 1-1 on our bets. We took the points with the Lions, but we thought the game would go over. Instead, the defenses did a little bend but don't break at times and kept it low scoring. And the Lions basically winning it with defense. A key drive in and around a good solid half of defense. And they caught some breaks, let's face it. No Chris Jones, holdout. No Travis Kelce, first game he misses in 10 years because of injury. And one of the 3 touchdowns they scored was an absolute gift. But, you need breaks. And Mark, if it's going to be your year, what do you need?
You need a little luck, David. We've said it for a long time, and fans don't like to hear it. They get upset when you use the L word, but luck is a part of sports. And last night, the breaks went Detroit's way.
Yeah. And so you take it to the house, baby. And the Chiefs lose the opener at home. And just like that, they're going to go to Jacksonville in 9 days, staring 0-2 in the face. Maybe this is the year of the Jags and the Lions, huh? I really don't know if the NFL fan would be ready for something like that. They'd honestly think that they've had an out-of-body experience. It's all been a dream.
But we talk about the importance of week 1 all the time. And hey, the Chiefs are going to be fine. They're going to get Jones back. They're going to get Kelce back, and they'll be a good football team. But does a loss like that cost at the end of the season? Does a game like that without those players, is that the difference between a 1 seed and a 2 seed and hosting the AFC Championship?
Hell, is it the difference even between a 2 seed and a 3 seed, which means you only get 1 home playoff game? And you got to go on the road in the divisional round. Remember, Mahomes and the Chiefs have never played a playoff game on the road in the last 5 years. Maybe, just maybe, the little breaks that have gone Kansas City's way during this run, maybe this is the year when it doesn't. But anyway, nice way to get the season started, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
And once again, the NFL gets it right. 5 months ago, we all went, are they really going to open with the Lions and the Chiefs? I mean, they're riding this Detroit thing a little hard, aren't they? And ladies and gentlemen, once again, every now and then something happens in which I urge you, today may be the day for you to take in Miller and Moulton via the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. And Mark Miller, I have known Mark Miller for almost 25 years. And Mark Miller has said, yes, I grew up in Michigan, but I never had the Lions bug fever. I hope they did well, but they never did. And so because of it, I never caught the fever. Tigers, yes. Red Wings, yes. Pistons, yes. My Michigan State Spartans, absolutely. Lions, I hoped, but never had the fever. We have texted one another 7,323,000 times. Never before had Mark Miller uttered these words last night in a text or in person to me. 8:03 p.m. Go Lions.
Go Lions.
And then he sends me a picture of his lanai, which is in Lions blue.
Honolulu blue, David. Honolulu
Whatever.
blue.
It was Lions blue to me. I thought Billy Sims was going to come out and start serving appetizers. All right. Al Bubba Baker was going to rush the living room and tackle you. I thought the Silver Rush was about ready to, and I'm not talking Coors Light, was about ready to just come. I mean, man, all of a sudden, Mark Miller, out of nowhere, at 54 years of age, had caught, I'm going to break into a little Cosell, had caught Lions fever.
I was openly rooting for him last night. And I haven't done that much in my life. I've wanted them to be good, but same old Lions is what's been around for 54 years. They've had literally have had a couple of good years in my lifetime. That's it.
And in your lifetime, they've won 1 playoff game.
Right.
That's not a joke. They've won 1 playoff game in your lifetime. So I get it. I do, but I'm just saying, out of nowhere, because it didn't happen during the show yesterday either. Fired up for the game. We talked about the game a decent amount. There was no go Lions.
I didn't have the guts to pick them. I picked a close game. I took the points.
You and I both thought Mahomes would get the ball last. He'd drive down the field. They'd win. Lions would cover. And sure enough, when Dan Campbell went for it with 2.5 minutes to go, by the way, 4th and 2, what'd you think?
I loved it. I did. I was fine with it. I thought the point that Tirico made on the air, what's the difference between giving the ball 2.5 minutes at the 40-yard line or giving it to him at the 15-yard line? It doesn't matter. You can't give him the damn ball.
Yeah, okay. I got to admit, I didn't get the sense that, the Chiefs offense without Travis Kelce was the same offense. I was saying punt the ball.
I was saying go for it. I had no problem with it.
But did you think that the Lions defense, when they walked out onto the field, was going to stop them? Or did you think, oh, well, they were a play away from winning, and now they're going to go down, kick a field goal, 23-21 final?
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Because you thought what? Same old Lions, didn't you? At that moment in time, you went, I'll be damned. It's going to be same old Lions.
11:18, text from a buddy in Harbor Springs, Michigan. Oh, my God, with exclamation points.
They not only get a stop. By the way, what'd you think of the Chiefs going for it? I thought they were just bat blank crazy. They had 3 timeouts.
3 timeouts, punt the ball.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
What the heck? I thought Andy Reid did not have his best night either.
Didn't like either end around call that he made. The one in the red zone was a killer for the Chiefs because they could go up by 10 there. Instead, they settled for a field goal.
So, once again, we said it the whole offseason. What if something happened to Travis Kelce? This team, they don't have a special running back. They don't have a special wide receiver. I mean, what if something happens to Kelce? Well, guess what? Something happened to Travis Kelce. They got held to 20 points at home and lost. Now, he's supposed to be back soon. I guess he darn near played last night, but great start to the season, though. Mark made his picks 2 weeks ago. I made mine last night. And I have to admit, the result last night altered my seeding in the NFC. I thought Detroit was going to lose the game when I originally wrote records out and what have you. I had Detroit with a different seeding. And now, I had to bump them up. So I had to take a win away from somebody else. Because, yes, my numbers do add up.
As do mine. And that's why I made the comment. I had Kansas City winning that game. I had Kansas City with one more win than Jacksonville.
Now.
Is this the difference? Come on now. As you mentioned, they've hosted this game every year Patrick Mahomes has played.
And could this be the beginning of, first off, will they now make the playoffs? Okay, so when they make the playoffs, will we look back and go, affected their seeding? Right there. Let that Monday Nighter get away. All right, going to have to go on the road now. We shall see. But a good one last night. That was fun. And, of course, the NFL making news. Did the news break before kickoff or right after it? I got wind of it just after kickoff that our guy, and I mean, I have to admit, my man crush, ever so slightly bigger than Mark's, but it's a double crush on Joe Burrow. And our guy got paid. It's funny. I got a text from somebody who said, hey, your guy got paid. And I said, I thought he was going to get more.
Maybe they can keep one more receiver than they thought. Who knows?
I mean, it wasn't like how you and I reacted to when Mahomes signed his contract and Acuna a few years ago signed his contract, and we all went, what the heck are they doing? But I did. I saw Joe Burrow get his money and went, really? I actually thought there was going to be a few more shekels than that. But okay, all right. You could live on that in Cincinnati, though. You really can. That'll go a long way.
I think he'll be fine, David.
Yeah, I do too, even after taxes and all that. All right. So Joe Burrow got paid. First game of the year comes down to the final moments. Off to a good start, wouldn't you say?
The NFL It delivers as always, and it just threw us for a little loop last night as the game everybody looked at. What the hell are the Lions doing playing in the first game of the season? I mean, come on. When the schedule came out, you said it. We've all said it. And Detroit goes into Kansas City and gets the dub.
And now, Mark, there's a thing. There's a hashtag MCDC. It's become a full-fledged thing. He's now Motor City Dan Campbell.
Perfect personality for that region, that city. Come on. Sometimes a coach and a city just find each other and it's the right mix. This guy is perfect for Detroit. They love him.
He's going to be their Ditka.
Hmm?
You got to win.
Got to win first.
Got to win. But MCDC goes into KC and gets a win. By the way, if it doesn't fit, you can't acquit. Also, we're just staying with the rhymes today.
Wow, look at that. Miller and Moulton. Lee Sterling will make his picks on the show. Pat Kirwan will join us. We'll make our picks as well. Thanks so much for joining us on a Football Friday right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. So I know you weren't watching the U.S. Open, but I know you read about it. A dude glued his feet. I mean, I wish it wasn't a Friday. I wish that would have been a Wednesday that he did that on, because there's so many different directions you can go with that.
Well, I actually thought about it when I read about it. And I'm like, so how did they take care of the situation? Because my first reaction is to just aggressively, physically remove them.
That's what a lot of people were questioning.
Well, according to the Post, the two went out easy. The guy that glued his feet to the ground was
Right. And my thought was with the guy who glued his feet. I'm like, so why? I mean, 49-minute delay. I mean, what the heck? What did they try to actually go find
Get
something?
some rubbing alcohol to throw on
Yeah.
that.
I mean, what did they try to go find? Something to chisel away underneath the shoes? I mean, no. I mean, I was thinking.
First off, if it's his shoes, and I'm being serious, if he's in shoes, I'm just ripping him out of the shoes. I wondered if he actually glued his bare feet.
No, he did. I think.
You think, or you know?
I mean, that's what was reported, that he stuck himself to the floor, and
Okay,
he didn't have shoes on. So I think
Okay.
he stuck his bare feet on the floor of where he was sitting.
That's
Okay.
what.
So, but my question is, do you physically tackle him? Do you treat him like a tackling dummy? Okay, and then see whether or not the glue holds, and then pick him up and carry him out. I mean, come on, we got to move this thing along.
Right, regardless of how much it'll injure him. I mean, what?
Yeah. Well, I just think in today's world, police and security were probably a little worried about breaking an ankle by removing. I'm being serious.
That's
I
the
just
thing.
No.
Putting
I
in the lawsuits-
I get it, but next time, because I would have tackled the guy. I would have treated him like a tackling dummy.
Oh yeah,
I'm David. I'm with you. I mean, I'm with you.
It was hilarious.
And by the way, okay, even though it's a liberal city, when the protester sues, okay, trust me, there's not a judge in that city that's not going to basically say, "You got to be kidding me, dude."
Yeah, Twitter was saying that they need a bouncer.
Yes, that's what I'm like, they just need to send a big guy.
Yeah.
Where's Messi's security guy? That's what I was thinking.
Yes.
Not one of those baseball guys when they run out on the field, because they never catch anybody. No. We need real security here. Got plenty of clubs nearby.
Did love. I don't know if you caught that. I don't know what you were doing, but I did love the Dan Campbell halftime interview where he interviewed himself with the second question. I thought that was great. In the defense, because I know you're going to ask about that next.
I gotta go.
But he gave actually legitimate answers to both. It was good sound.
I know. The only thing he needs to add Orgeron's "Go Tigers."
Yeah, go Lions.
Okay, go Lions.
I'm totally with you.
If he adds that, I think it's just got it nailed. Oh, just don't get me going, Gator alumnus, on the whole right tackle for the Chiefs. First off, he's not on the line of scrimmage, okay, and that needs to be enforced. And then, yes, he gets to leave a half count early. Ugh.
The one they called, he left 2.5 counts early. That's why. I mean, that was so blatant that they had no choice.
Exactly. But
10 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Lee Sterling to make his picks. Got his game of the week right last week. And Pat Kirwan will join us at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. We'll go through the games. Miller and Moulton will make our picks. A lot of picks. First off.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. No. You know, I behaved. No, I didn't stick to 5, but I behaved. So we'll have those picks against the number. But then also we're going to give our season long, here's what's going to happen in the NFL. And I got a couple of 1 seeds that are just going to throw you guys for a loop. Yeah. But did you see, because you and I have joked, and you always try to rein me in, but there are times in which I have to rein you in. We have always joked that if we ran an organization, we'd have phenomenal press conferences.
That's true.
And we'd also have great press releases. I know they don't mean much, but people still send out press releases, and the stuff gets in. It gets out there. So, did you see the University of North Carolina yesterday?
I saw what happened. I did not see their press release, but I know the transfer.
Mark, Mac Brown completely eviscerates the NCAA. It was as if he was hosting a sports talk show and he was doing a monologue. And the University of North Carolina let him do it on their letterhead and sent it out. And then the AD a few hours later was, I think, jealous. He's like, wow, that was really good. I got to say something. And so then he completely eviscerates with more detail all of the things that the NCAA did to deny this one particular guy, Tez Walker, a year of eligibility this year. Very quickly, he went to a historically black college in 2020, the pandemic year. The season got canceled. So then he went to Kent State, and he had some issues at Kent State, mental health issues. He came back home in the state of North Carolina, and he wants to play at the University of North Carolina. And North Carolina's been trying to get him eligible all year. 8 different attempts, by the way, before the NCAA. They ignored the first 7, just ignored them. And then finally yesterday said, yeah, the kid's ineligible, even though both North Carolina Central and Kent State had both sent waivers on his behalf. So anyway, I found something very interesting last night. A lawyer took to X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, sent out a tweet, a Twix, whatever we're calling it, and said, I think North Carolina should just play them and sue the NCAA and say, do you know what you're denying this kid? All right. And not just playing, NIL money. Okay. By denying him the right to play, this is what you're costing him. All right. And the lawyer basically said, no. Actually use this to take down the NCAA and play the kid. And the NCAA is going to try. What are they going to do? Are they literally not going to let the games kick off?
They can't. They have nothing really to do with college football.
What if Jim Phillips, the commissioner of the ACC, decides this is the line we're going to draw in the sand? Because I would think Jim Phillips would pick up the phone and call North Carolina and go, what the heck are you doing? Unless he decides, you know what, I'm on your side.
And Jim Phillips is a guy that could use some good PR right now. No, hey.
And for those that don't know, he was AD at Northwestern, and right. And he's only been commissioner for a year of the ACC, right? So the whole Northwestern thing could come back on him, blah, blah, blah. All right. So I just thought, because listen, we're not going to have time to talk about this, and it's not going to, because of when this went down, it's not going to get a ton of publicity today. But just, would you have the guts? I'm Mac Brown. Of the 2 press releases, mine was the most salacious. I think that's a fair statement. I would be more ridiculous than you would in our statements, but you're the boss. And I'm the guy saying, boss, we're going to play them, blank them, okay? What are they going to do? Literally stop the game from kicking off? What, is the opposing team not going to show up? Are they going to refuse to play?
This is such an interesting question, dilemma, because this is North Carolina, and they think very highly of the academic world that they're in. They think very highly of all of the sports that they play. And I don't think North Carolina would ever do this. I think there are other schools that might.
So I'm Mac Brown, and I'm pounding your table, Bubba Cunningham. Okay. And by the way, I got your release in your hand here, in which I go, you know what, boss, is pretty good. Okay. You reined it in a little bit, but you gave more facts than I did. Okay. This is good. This is good. And then we joke about my statement, which you should read it. You all should go find Mac Brown's systematic takedown of the NCAA, in which he scolds them like a father, in which the child carries the shame with him for years. I have never been more, he used the word, Mark, he used the D word, disappointed. Oh my goodness, I almost had tears. I thought it was my grandfather talking to me again about my behavior on the golf course. I honestly.
And the whole reason that the NCAA is doing this is because you can't transfer twice. That's their reasoning. But he didn't play.
Right.
He didn't play at the one school. They didn't have a season.
Right.
It's not he was injured, which they give injury waivers for all the time. It's not that he was ineligible due to some other circumstances. No. The season was canceled.
Also, this is not a five-star kid. I mean, he went to North Carolina Central and then Kent State. This is not a difference maker, huge difference maker. This isn't going to now all of a sudden take North Carolina and make it a top 10 team here. So I'm just curious, could I convince you, boss? Could I convince you we're going to play the kid? We're going to countersue the NCAA on his behalf, all right? And we're going to make either Jim Phillips the commissioner of the ACC, all right, or the NCAA. Really? Really? The opposing team may not like it. They're going to show up and play. They'll threaten to forfeit the game. Do we really think Jim Phillips, the ACC commissioner, is going to declare the game a forfeit?
Because what are you doing? You're acting on behalf of the athlete.
Thank you.
It's a really difficult argument for the other side, the other teams, the commissioner of the ACC to look down upon. You could talk me into it. I don't think there's a way in hell North Carolina would ever do it. I lived in that area. I just don't believe that the academic world and even the president of North Carolina would allow that to ever happen. But you could definitely convince me.
What if you and I conspire and we don't tell anybody, and all of a sudden on Saturday he's on the field and he's playing? Will the refs, honestly, will the refs all of a sudden go, he can't play? No, I'm
probably.
Okay. All right. I just, I don't know what to tell you. He's on the roster. He's on the roster. We're playing.
Just, if anything, David, just make sure that no one else has the same number as he does.
Mark, you and I are hockey guys. This reminds me of when the Devils, the NHL, suspended their head coach for a game, and the Devils went and got an emergency injunction, and he coached game 4, and the referees in protest didn't show up and do the game. They had to pull officials out of the crowd. I'm curious. I want to turn this into Schoenfeld and, get another donut. I do.
Koharski.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
35 years later. That's what I want to do.
It's a great pull. Miller and Moulton. Lee Sterling and Pat Kirwan on the show today. The starting 5 on the other side right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Exactly, Ambien. That's my point. I don't think anybody, for a poll question, you want something that's a little more 50-50. This would be 95-5.
Tony just dropped another pass. It's the football gods getting back at Tony. Tony was a dog with the Giants, an absolute dog. Giants kept their mouths shut. They just offered him up in a trade. Chiefs gave up like a third and a fifth. Giants said, take him. He helped them win the Super Bowl. He had that big punt return. He's a talented player, the whole deal. And Tony talked all kinds of trash about the Giants. Giants didn't say a word. Now that he's needed, now that they need him, he's not just a bit player. By the way, Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, big weapons last night, weren't they?
Yeah.
Big weapons for the Chiefs.
How many targets did Sky Moore have the whole night?
Like
2?
1. Yeah. Yards receiving, I believe, is 0. Yep. But no.
Yeah, he didn't have a catch. You're right. 1 rush for 4 yards.
And Tony had 1 catch for 1 yard and then 1 rush for -1 yard. So he 5 targets, 1 catch. Man, they were in control of that game too, and that drop turned into the pick 6.
Oh yeah.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of the many wide receivers drafted behind Kadarius Toney.
Isn't Brown one of those guys who's like, I know all the receivers taken ahead of me?
Yep.
He writes them all. They're all written down. He's
in his
kept it.
journal or whatever.
It's at his locker. There's 17 guys that were drafted ahead of him.
I love that. I just do. Whatever you need, man. Whatever you need.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Lee Sterling with his weekly picks coming up at the top of the hour. Pat Kirwan will join us at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. We'll talk about Joe Burrow's big contract, the Thursday night opener, and we'll go through this week's slate of NFL games. Miller and Moulton will make their picks coming up against the number this week and this year. Man, we got a lot of football to talk about. But there were other things that happened in the sports world yesterday. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
I'll tell you what, Felipe was not that Chiefs right tackle there.
No.
Okay, no.
No.
Instead of a half a step fast, it might have gotten off the line a half a beat slow there.
Right. First batter's got a 2-0 count. That's all I'm saying.
The Detroit Lions went into Kansas City and beat the Chiefs to start the NFL season. No, really, it happened. 21-20. Of course, the Chiefs didn't have Travis Kelce. They didn't have Chris Jones. They were in control of the game mid-third quarter. They're up 14-7. They're moving the ball. Kadarius Toney's wide open. Patrick Mahomes hit him in a bad place, the hands. The ball somehow went through them, off them, ends up being a pick six. Totally gets Detroit back in the game. Chiefs couldn't punch it in afterwards. Drove the ball, but settled for 2 field goals. And the Lions got the ball with 9 minutes to go, or 12 minutes to go, I'm sorry, down 6, and said, we'll take it from here, thanks. Nice 75-yard touchdown drive, capped off with David Montgomery's 8-yard touchdown run. And then the defense made not 1 but 2 stops. Didn't allow the Chiefs really get beyond midfield. Good for the Lions. 21-20. Mahomes and the Chiefs lose their opener. Detroit will host Seattle week 2. Kansas City will go to Jacksonville. There was other NFL news that broke right around kickoff. Joe Burrow got paid. And by got paid, we mean more money per year and in total than anyone else ever. I mean, $55 million a year for 5 years. That's 5 for $275.
Put it this way: Ohtani looked at the contract and went, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Good for you, Joe Burrow.
Ohtani said, that's a nice starting point. All right. We need to add a few more years to that. And by a few more, I mean double it.
Right. But I mean, for you, that's a nice contract.
Yeah,
that even caught my attention.
And not only that, Ohtani said, 4 of the 5 years are guaranteed. 219 is guaranteed, huh? That's pretty good. I mean, all of mine will be guaranteed, but you know what? That's a good effort, Joe. Good place to start. How's your calamari? As we like to say. Mike Evans is giving the Bucs till tomorrow to get a new deal done, or else he says, I'm just going to play out the final year of my contract. When asked, will this then be your last year with the Bucs? Mike Evans answered it very professionally. But if you were to see and hear the answer, you could very easily conclude that this will then be his last year with the Bucs. He said, hey, great organization. They have to do what they have to do. But, we'll have to do what we have to do. Okay. Chandler Jones, are you paying attention to this situation?
This is bizarre, man.
So he's with the Raiders, if you've lost track of Chandler, and he's actually still a productive player, and he's very well paid. But he's, good for 8, 9, 10 sacks a year. But he's getting up there in age. He's in his mid-30s now. And anyway, he 2 days ago takes to social media, says, what's going on with this organization? They won't let me work out at the team facility. I had to go to my own health club. Okay, the Raiders are trying to keep everything off social media. The Raiders, by their actions, think that Chandler Jones is mentally unstable. They apparently sent official mental health representatives to his house yesterday, and he mocked them for it and is insinuating that the Raiders are making this all up. And he's got the text to prove it. I have no idea if Chandler Jones is... I know he's still on the Raiders, Mark. I can conclude that. But do you think he's playing Sunday against the Broncos?
No. But I believe in his Instagram post said he's got the goods on McDaniel if he doesn't play on Sunday, which he has said deleted.
Which, of course, is everybody interested in, hey, what's the goods? There was a college football game last night.
Yeah, okay, if you say so.
Louisville scheduled Murray State. If this was basketball, this would have been entertaining. But it was football, and Murray State had 8 first downs and 166 total yards, while Louisville had almost 700 yards, and the final was 56-0. 2 college games tonight, if you're interested. Big Ten Network, Indiana State, Indiana. And by the way, the Indiana coach earlier this week walked up to the podium and said, this is the dumbest thing ever. Friday night should be for high school football. I'm against this 100%. I don't even want to play. Illinois, meanwhile, is at Kansas, 7 o'clock on ESPN2. Kansas, a 3-point favorite. They're getting a quarterback back for this game. Major League Baseball, 10,060 in the house at the Trop. After all, these are 2 of the 5 best teams in the American League, the Rays and the Mariners. And Seattle won 1-0. Tampa Bay's 4 back, 5 in the loss column of the Orioles. Orioles magic numbers in the teens, Mark. The Marlins 6-game winning streak is no more. Dodgers got fed up, beat them 10-0. And now Miami's out of the playoffs, if the playoffs started today. They went from the 6th seed to out because, Arizona beat the Cubs 6-2. Cubs are now 2 back of the Brewers in the Central. They are the 5 seed, however, in the playoffs. Arizona's the 6th seed, a half a game ahead of the Marlins and the Reds. Atlanta's magic number's 10. They beat Adam Wainwright and the Cardinals 8-5. Man, the Cardinals are desperately trying to get Wainwright his 200th win. He's been stuck at 198 for over 2 months. He's got 4 starts left in his career, probably. At most 5, but realistically 4. He's 3-11. His ERA is like 7. He gave up 6 earned and 5 2/3 last night. First pitch of the game was an 86-mile-an-hour meatball right down the middle of the plate. Acuna hit it into the second row in center field. Kind of like, dude, you can't throw me that. Detroit snapped the Yankees' 5-game winning streak. Bronx Bombers are back to 500, 10-3 the final. They're 7 back in the wild card for you Yankee fans that were actually starting to think that, you had a chance. And the Angels with 2 in the 9th to beat the Guardians 3-2. Twins lead 6.5 in the Central. Their magic number is 16. The Braves, by the way, they say Michael Soroka, who's pitched 7 games in 3 years because of a series of injuries, is not going to need surgery, but he's not going to pitch again the rest of this year. Tennis, the U.S. Open, you had to stay up till 1 a.m. to watch the 2 women's semis. That's because the first semifinal was delayed nearly an hour because of environmental protesters. You heard me. Coco Gauff, meanwhile, had won the first set 6-4. 1 game into the second set, they walked off the court for nearly an hour. She came back and won the second set 7-5. So the 19-year-old's playing in her first U.S. Open final. She'll take on the 2nd seed Sabalenka. Madison Keys won the first set 6-love, served for the match in the second set, got broken at love, was up 4-2 in the third set, got broken, lost both the second and third sets in tiebreakers. Sabalenka will now become the new number 1 player in the world. It'll be Sabalenka and golf Saturday, the U.S. Open women's final. 3 o'clock today, Mark. Ben Shelton, the hard-serving lefty American from the University of Florida, will take on Djokovic in the first semifinal. Medvedev Alcaraz tonight in the second semifinal. They're both on ESPN if you're interested. Can an American man make it to the U.S. Open final? That hasn't happened in a while.
Probably not, but I'm excited to watch him play because the hard-serving guy, you got to think he's got to have a chance.
I believe Roddick in 07 is the last American to make the final. He got beat by Federer. Roddick 20 years ago, yesterday, is the last American man to win a Grand Slam. Did you catch wind of the gift that the South Florida Athletic Department received yesterday? Tampa General Hospital stroked a check for $25 million to the Bulls Athletic Department. Now, they did say, here's what you need to do with it. You need to build a world-class training facility. But South Florida said, okay, we can do that. And, they said it's going to, Mark, I'm not making this up, because remember, Title IX, for every men's sport, you have to have a women's sport that you're going to, spend the money on. And in the release, South Florida said that the world-class training facility will go towards the football team and the women's lacrosse team. Because that seems comparable, right?
Well, hey, David, got to be good at something on that side. Why don't you put your eggs in the women's lacrosse basket, South Florida?
$25 million, though. Largest gift that they've ever received for
Fantastic.
Athletics. Yeah.
At SMU, you know what they look at as? Tip money.
I was going to say they wouldn't even have a meeting for that. By the way, Tampa General, $25 million. Does that mean we need to itemize our bill? Okay. I mean, man, that aspirin could be pretty costly. Finally, North Carolina wide receiver Tez Walker denied his eligibility waiver. He'll be ineligible for this year. The University of North Carolina publicly eviscerates the NCAA like no university ever has before. We'll see if they take any further action. Many are urging them to do so, to sue on the kid's behalf and to challenge it. I mean, Miller and Moulton have said the NCAA has been nothing but event planners for years. So I say we go to court and make it official. But that's me. And as we approach 9 minutes before the hour, gentlemen, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
So what do you think? 5 for 275 for Burrow.
Sounds about right. I know you think he left a little money on the table, but he's the highest paid player ever. That's what obviously his agent wanted for him. They get that.
Here's my question. Who will be the next guy to get a bigger contract? Because we all know, like Bosa just got over $2 million a year more than Aaron Donald. We could debate whether or not Bosa is better than Aaron Donald. Is that a better career? The answer is no. But, when you come later, you get paid more. So who's the next? Is it Trevor?
It probably is.
Like, who's the next guy that could literally look his team in the eye and not have them blush and start laughing at him when he asks for Joe Burrow money and maybe throw a little something on top of it?
It's Trevor Lawrence. Because
Now,
everyone else has gotten paid. Mahomes could come back and say, pay me the money.
And I think the Chiefs will. I think the Chiefs will quietly pull him aside and say, listen, give us till the end of the year. We'll make you the highest paid guy. We know you're the best player in the league. We'll just, just give us till the end of the year.
Mahomes may say, I don't need it. Can you just give me a number one receiver? Tampa.
Tell you what, how about a number 2? Yeah, there you go. How about this? I'll stay exactly the same. You give the Bucs whatever they want for Mike Evans. What do you say?
And pay him because I need a receiver.
In fact, I may even give you a little something back. What do you say? And while you're at it, cut Kadarius Toney.
I don't want to see him again, ever.
Just want to remind everyone that DeAndre Hopkins is a Titan and not a Chief.
Right. Yeah, there's quite a few teams who said no to DeAndre Hopkins. We'll see if D-Hop's got anything left, though. But, yeah. But, I mean, say Tua has a monster year. Tua can't look at the Dolphins and ask for Burrow money, can he?
Nope. No.
I know you can ask, but
asking and receiving
right.
are a different thing.
Right. Herbert's already gotten paid. So, who else is coming down? Jalen got his contract in Philly. Dak's going to be a free agent in 2 years. I mean, come on. Unless he wins a Super Bowl. I mean, there's no way Dak could ask for Joe Burrow money. So
it's either Mahomes or if Lawrence has the year that we think he could have and that they could have. Lee Sterling, he'll make his picks next. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone, on 5th Avenue in Naples.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
FYI, Lee did not win his game of the week last week.
Well, he said he was 2-4, and he went 1-4 on his.
Well, he had Ohio State.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what game he thought he won that he didn't then.
Unless
let me look. Michigan loss, North Carolina win,
where's the other win?
Clemson loss, LSU loss, Miami of Ohio loss. He was 1-5. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I've got the text because I sent him a text who the game of the week was.
Gotcha. Okay.
Morning, Lee.
Good morning.
There we go.
Oh, how's the connection? Because
everything's much better.
Okay, because sometimes you end up like buffering.
Right. No, I can tell right from the get-go looking at the picture. Last week, your picture was so fuzzy.
Okay.
That I knew we had trouble. So we look good. Look good, sound good.
Great. Okay.
By the way, when you grabbed that light, before you turned it on, it looked like a part, and I thought, oh my God, he's going tin cup on the range here. Okay, I mean, I thought you were about ready, Back to the Future, and you were going to just start holding things up, and I'm like, wow.
For some reason on my street, so I'm right off South Dixie Highway. They told me on my trunk, like between 5 and 7 o'clock, is awful. I don't know what happens. I guess kids are doing homework. Everyone's on the internet, and the speed is awful.
That's
but
weird.
I mean, the last couple of weeks have been horrible. So,
because we experience when we're in hotels sometimes. The first half of the show is fine, but then people start waking up around 8 o'clock, and between 8 and 9, the hotel internet goes haywire.
Yeah. Crazy. So,
Lee, and I hate to break it to you, I had you at 1-5 last week, not 2 and 4.
What games? Oh, maybe you're right. You could be right when I'm grading 50 sheets.
No, I know.
Yeah. So I've got a 45 unit play. Can I say it here?
No.
Okay. I'll text it to you.
Too many people are listening.
Okay.
We don't let you give those for free. You got to make it. You got to make a living. You do this for a reason.
I will text it to you in a second.
Perfect. Shoot that with the game of the week when you do it, and then we got them.
Yeah. Okay, so game of the week.
30 seconds.
Okay.
Your game of the week is one of my locks of the week. So I'm very interested.
Like that.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And at this day and time throughout the football season, we will be joined by Lee Sterling. Paramount Sports, ParamountSports.com, 800-400-9741. Top of the morning to you. How are you?
I'm good.
Lee, how we doing this morning?
Going to actually be going. Didn't go to any Games last year. I'm good. I'm going to be at the Miami Texas A&M game. We'll break down that game. Maybe the biggest game between 2 5-7 teams in the last decade. I mean, if Miami loses, there'll be about 30,000 people at most at every game the rest of the year, and there'll be talk of, Mario can't get it done. If Texas A&M loses, can you imagine? We might see a fight on the sideline between Bobby Petrino and Jimbo Fisher, and there'll be talk about his buyout already. But I will say this. I saw Miami. I saw a scrimmage, saw their first game, and saw A&M's first game. Two much improved teams.
Well, there's no doubt they're going to have to be after the year they had last year. Let's get right to it. That's one of the 5 games on the schedule. Since we're talking about it, let's lead with that one. We can jockey around the schedule a little bit.
Okay.
A&M's a big favorite in this game. I mean, 4.5 is the number in Miami. Miami was impressive. You had said last week when we talked about it that, Miami, Ohio had a pretty decent MAC defense. They size-wise not big, but Miami pushed them around. They ran the ball well. And now they have a huge difference in size and competition playing A&M.
Oh, they do. And A&M has almost every single guy on the defensive line is a 5-star. So Miami has to, get that punch out from their offensive linemen, which is they're much bigger than last year. I think they're certainly headed in the right direction, and they got to hold their blocks. A little bit different blocking, as you mentioned, A&M kids and Miami of Ohio defensive linemen. They have to have some balance. If they're forced to throw the football, they're in trouble. But Colby Young, as I mentioned, coming on, I think he's an NFL receiver. Having Restrepo back is huge, not just as his number 1 target, which he's the guy he looks to the most, also returning punts. Last year, he did not play in that game. The only turnover was when Stevenson from Miami fumbled the punt, and that led to their only touchdown. Miami in the red zone, a big 0 for 4 last year in the game. They gained 175 yards on A&M, but A&M also had a bunch of suspensions. They had, injuries. There was dissension going on in the locker room here. This is going to be a fun game. 2 teams I think might be top 15 teams by the end of the year. I don't know if they're top 10, but I think home field advantage is a difference here. A&M had it last year, all the illegal procedure penalties. This year, Miami gets those little intangibles. And how about this? They talk about Connor Wegman, no interceptions since he started as a quarterback last year. 6 games in, he's going to throw 1 or 2 on Saturday. Wrong team favorite here. Miami outright 27-24.
Maybe the most impressive performance of last week in college football was Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
Big number, which is getting bigger by the day. All right. Earlier in the week, it was around 4 touchdowns. Now it's all the way up to 4 touchdowns and a field goal. Do you lay the 31 on the Noles against Southern Miss?
Normally I wouldn't, but other than Frank Gore Jr., which runs, passes, he does everything. They put him in the shotgun, and he's a really good athlete. I don't know how it translates to the next level, but he and Keon Coleman, who came over from Michigan State, can make some plays. But there's the old axiom: after you win a big game, maybe you're looking ahead, just going through the motions. I don't think so with this team here. I think they can score early and often. Their defense, I think, is going to get some stops, and maybe special teams create some turnovers here. I like Florida State here, 45-13.
Well, the big game of the week's Alabama and Texas. Last year, Texas had them. They really did before Ewers gets hurt. Texas was rolling in that game and looked as if they were going to pull off the big upset. Different game in Tuscaloosa. Alabama's a 7-point favorite.
Yeah, and I think even though Alabama, they had to be excited to play Texas, I think they still thought they could go in there and win pretty easily. Now they know what to expect here. You have not heard any talk during August about a quarterback competition at Alabama. Jalen Milroe just took the job and ran with it. Always has been a great runner, but his passing has improved. Quinn Ewers, this is a guy, when he came out, started playing, you see certain spurts when he's healthy. He looks great, but he still cannot throw the long ball. They're not hitting on balls 20 yards or longer down the field. His offensive line, not great. He got hit 6 or 7 times. Busted up good by Rice here. And he has no Bijan Robinson to keep this Alabama defense honest here. I think Alabama still the right side. I don't think there's any super team this year. First look, like an LSU a couple years ago with Burrow, and Alabama that year with Tua and all those receivers. But I think Alabama and Tuscaloosa is the right side. Roll Tide, Alabama, 34-24.
All right, to Sunday and Monday we go. Let's go Sunday. Dolphins. Concerns whether or not Armstead's going to play at left tackle, but the line holding firm. It's a field goal. Chargers, who won this game last year in L.A., 3-point favorite against the Dolphins.
So I'm hearing whispers that Miami has about 20 or 30 plays they have never shown before. A lot of changes between year one and year two, new coach. We were excited with the offense last year, but that West Coast swing, when they went and played San Francisco and the Chargers, they looked absolutely horrible. They got dominated. So I think this is the game, their circle game. They want to come out of the gate strong here. I love the fact that they ended up bringing it over Braxton Berrios. Not only is a great number 3 receiver, they can't play too high all the time against Hill and Waddle now. He also returns punts. And 2 years ago, he was a Pro Bowl punt returner. And they had serious problems the last 2-3 years in that position. I think the defense is going to be fine here. It's going to be a fun game, but I think the wrong team's favored here. I like the Dolphins here, 30-24.
And then Monday night we go. Aaron Rodgers debut with the New York Jets. No Von Miller for the Bills. I think that's a big deal. How do you see this one? The Bills are a 2.5-point favorite.
So I was watching Buffalo last year, and I made a comment to one of my friends. I'm like, wow, this Buffalo defense, like week 12, 13, just not the same here. You know, sometimes you see guys and players, and they're in the uniforms. They look the same. They're just a split second slow. I think their safeties are a little long in the tooth here. I think they're going to have trouble against Wilson, who I think one of the top 5-6 receivers in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers, as a home underdog, 8 times in his career at Green Bay, an almost perfect 7-1 record. That close to winning every game and covering here. I think he's on a mission here. I think the Jets have a top 3 defense in the NFL here. Hate to say it, but the New York stinking Jets here, I think they're the right side here, 27-26.
Jets played 7 backup quarterbacks last year to have that top 4 ranking on defense. I do think there are a few people that are curious this year, a much tougher schedule for AFC East teams, whether or not the defense is as good as it was statistically last year. Your game of the week's a good one. Bosa in the house, signed a healthy Watt for Pittsburgh. Niners and Steelers.
Wow. Right out of the gate. The NFL gives you some great games this weekend. This is one of them. You want to get the winner, be one of the first 10 callers. Get it for free, 800-400-9741. Give you Pittsburgh and San Francisco right out of the gate. You got JT Watt on one side. You got Bosa. You got 2 young quarterbacks. You got Purdy and Pickett. I think it's going to be a great game. 800-400-9741. And the first 40 to 50 unit selection of the year goes. I think it's the first time we've ever had an NFL 40 to 50 unit game in week 1. You want to get it. We're a documented 61-20. Already sent it to the guys. They have it. It's ready for release right now, so you don't have to wait till Saturday or Sunday to get it. You can get it now. Get a good line. Use coupon code SAVE100. September to Remember special. 4 weeks of action. Just $297 with coupon code SAVE100. ParamountSports.com.
800-400-9741, ParamountSports.com. To review, lay the points with Florida State and Alabama, and then take the points with the Canes, the Dolphins, and the Jets. Lee, have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys. You too. Be safe.
Lee Sterling will join us 7 o'clock every Friday throughout the football season.
And like he says, the big unit plays, they're documented. And one of the things that happened when Dave and I joined forces a long time ago, I said, we've got to get these picks. I've got to see them. I'm not letting them come on the show and say, I won this game. No. It doesn't work that way. And he does. He texts when he says he's got the big plays, he texts us. He texts us the game of the week every week. Lee didn't have a good week last week, but he has had a really consistent winning year with the games of the week and with his big plays, no doubt there.
It's really, we've been with Lee since 2005, together and separate. You know, there was a time back in the day in which we each did a show separately before we joined forces in 06. And this is our third act. He's had one rough year out of 17 previous years. Literally, only one. All right. Otherwise, you've made money with Lee, 16 out of 17, 17 out of 18, something like that? I don't know. That seems pretty good to me. So
if you like money.
Yeah.
If you like money.
Right. Now, Miller Moulton are the other way. See, we're like 1-16. Although Mark's one was a monster. It's almost been able to allow him to afford his lifestyle for the last 3-4 years since it was that big. Now he needs another big year, though. That money's all but spent. There's about $38 left in the, little safe in the bedroom from that monster year. I think it was the Joe Burrow year. It's another reason why we have such a crush on Joe Burrow.
That might be it. And we do have a crush on Joe Burrow. When he gets $55 million a year, and we both went,
probably deserves a little more. But okay, I guess we'll settle for it. I guess maybe they can afford their number 2 wide receiver now. So there you have it. We also like the fact that on this show, he'll select the games that, we're interested in. He's not dodging the Canes game. He's not dodging Bama, Texas. He's not dodging the Dolphins. He's not dodging the Monday Night Football extravaganza. So
on the other hand, when we do our picks, you'll hear games from all over the map.
Exactly. I mean, Oklahoma State, Arizona State. Don't you want to know?
We will see how many picks David has today.
Not nearly as many as you think. I reined it in. Well, a little bit.
Just a little bit. Plus, we'll make our NFL predictions on the season as well. Pat Kirwan to join us in the 8 o'clock hour as we talk all things football on a Football Friday here on Miller and Moulton. The text line is open at 21,000-2100 if you want to chime in on anything that happened last night or do you think will happen this weekend. The Lions take down the Chiefs as the NFL season opened last night. Thanks so much for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So we have to go through this week's NFL games. We have to do our Fantastic Five or whatever, and
Right.
we have to make our season-long picks.
Right.
So what do you want to do when?
I was fine with how you had it set up, 38 for the Fantastic Five and 38 for the NFL picks. Do we want to go through the NFL games now? And
That's
can
what
we
I'm
do
wondering.
that in this short of a segment? I mean, it would have to be the old simultaneous game from the Mike and Mike days when they'd have Wingo and Schlerathon.
Do you know the Raiders are like 14-2 in their last 16 games against the Broncos?
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you know that last night I made queso and nearly had a whole bag of tortilla chips during the game?
Oh man, I am so jealous. Golly.
Best part was though, because we have 2 cats. The one cat is awful. The one cat is on the counters all the time. We have sprayed it with water. We have put things up. It does not. This cat is resilient as hell. You can spray this cat hard with water. The cat's been in the sink. I have turned the sink on and doused the cat with water. Nothing phases the cat from coming on the counters. But the queso had the Rotel hot, the habanero and tomato. I mean, it's spicy. Like you probably wouldn't eat it, David. And it's melted cheese. That would be tough for you to see a big pile of melted cheese and not want to stick your hand in it. But the cat got up on the counter as I was going for the clicker for the tennis match and licked some of the cheese right out of the bowl. And that cat was drinking water for the next 30 minutes. It was effing hilarious. I was like, all right, you bastard. That's fine.
You know what? I actually think we could go through the I think we could do our picks and the games at 7:38. We don't have to spend a lot of time doing our Fantastic Five.
I agree with that.
So we could just, spend 5 minutes between the two of us, and then we'd have 10 minutes to go through the games. I actually think
go through some of the college games right now, or then
yeah, I've got I'm going to make the case that it's a sneaky better weekend than you think.
All right, and I see where you're going here.
Because there's actually
Youngstown State and Ohio State, Delaware and Penn State. There's some biggies on the schedule.
There's actually a lot of Power 5 games on the schedule of like Big 10, Pac-12, Big 12, SEC. There's actually like 15 interesting games. So there. Want to be that way?
In fact, every time you come with a game, I may come back with yes, and Central Michigan's taking on.
That's exactly what you should do. Yes. It's exactly what you should do.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Thanks so much for being with us. Pat Kirwan will join us at the top of the hour, get his thoughts on last night's Lions upset of the Chiefs. Joe Burrow's $55 million a year contract. Bosa's $34 million a year contract. And then we'll go through some of the sexy NFL matchups as well. But Mark, I am here now, before Felipe jumps in with the play of the day, I am here now to make the case that this is a sneaky, not sexy, but sneaky, good, decent, better than we think college football weekend. Are you
Sell
ready?
it, David. Sell it. Ohio State,
Okay.
Youngstown State, Penn State, Delaware. Where are we starting?
Unbelievable. We have a bunch of Power 5 schools playing each other, actually. All right, we do. We have, I mean, first off, you have a battle ranked SEC team going on the road to play a ranked opponent. Ole Miss at Tulane. Tulane's ranked. Tulane in the preseason viewed as the best non-Power 5 school that's not Notre Dame in the country. That's interesting, right?
It is. That is interesting. You may hear more about that game later.
Iowa State's playing this week. We're going to have 4 people running for president at this game.
First 1 to 15 wins.
You know, we got the headliner in Texas, Alabama. You know, we got A&M in Miami. We know that. But, you know, Mark, do you know it was the last time a Power 5 school went to Pullman, Washington and played the Cougars? 1998. Wisconsin's visiting Washington State tomorrow. It's a big deal to them.
You're right. I'm sure it is. And UNLV in the Big House is another thriller.
Well, I'm going to be there. There's no reason to bring me down now. Come on.
I wish you weren't staying in Detroit so I could get you to Zingerman's today. That's the only thing that I wish. There's no way you'll be able to get to Zingerman's unless they're going to cater it to you.
No. I'm staying tonight in Ann Arbor. I'm staying Saturday in Detroit.
All right.
I'm going. I've never gone before. I'm going. I'll wait in line. I'll do whatever I got to do.
And you are someone who has been to all the delis in New York City, and
right.
So
yep.
It's by people who have done both. Say it's as close as you can get. As close as you can get.
Okay. Cincinnati's at Pitt. Oregon's at Texas Tech. That's a sneaky good game, by the way. That really is. Arizona's at Mississippi State. Mississippi State's favored by 9. I'll take Arizona in the points right now. Auburn's at Cal. Purdue's at Virginia Tech. Nebraska's at Colorado. Utah's at Baylor.
Did you even mention the ACC SEC game? SMU and Oklahoma?
I did not. Notre Dame's at NC State. They've won 28 straight ACC games, says Notre Dame.
I'm interested in that game. I really am. NC State disappointed, but they didn't show much in their game against Connecticut. I am fascinated with that game.
Heck, undefeated Vandy's at Wake Forest.
Stop it.
And UCF at Boise. And favored on the blue turf. You may hear about that game a little bit later on. That's all I'm saying. So there's actually some sneaky good matchups. We actually have Power 5 teams playing other Power 5 teams. And going on the road to do so, which doesn't happen nearly enough. This may not be the best entree you've ever had, but I think if you look at this closely, this is a solid helping of spaghetti and meatballs. That's what I'm saying. It's a solid spaghetti and meatballs dish. It's not awful marinara sauce. It's not below average meatballs. It's actually pretty good. Not great. Not like you make, Mark. Okay, but, it's pretty good.
Pass the garlic rolls. That's all I'm saying. Pass the garlic rolls.
That always helps. I will say that. Good bread always helps to take the meal to the next level. I'd agree with that.
Time now for our play of the day. Felipe, what do you have for us today?
Well, we all saw it. It's a very rare sighting that Patrick Mahomes ever throws an interception, much less a pick six. But we can thank Kadarius Toney's Butterfingers for this one.
Mahomes out of the gun. He's got it, wants to throw. Mahomes back, throws. It is incomplete. Picked off by the Lions. Brian Branch with it left side. He's gone, baby. He's going to the house. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Deflected in the air. Branch ran under it, and he took it all the way back.
Lions Radio Network on the call. I mean, there's a still image of the ball in between Kadarius Toney's hands, and it pops in the air, and Brian Branch returns it for 6 as the Lions win their season opener in Arrowhead.
Did you draft Kadarius Toney in your fantasy team? You are speaking like you have such ills against him. Like it sounds personal to you, and I know you're not a Chiefs fan. So is Kadarius Toney on your fantasy team?
Well, I have 2 teams, and he is on one of them. He's far in my bench, I will say. Far in my bench. But yes, I decided to say, you know what? Blanket. Let's do it.
That was Mahomes' first ever and still only opening day interception. And it was totally on Kadarius Toney.
That's the kind of interception that'll have Dak fans saying, "See, you see, it's not always his fault."
Yeah, then you'll have Cowboys receivers going, we've never screwed things up like that. That's ridiculous. And a high school receiver catches that ball. Come on.
A gift for the Lions, and they were able to take advantage of the gift.
So the Lions statistically, defensively last year were really bad. But if you break the season in half, the second half of the year, they gave up about 20.5 points a game. But their numbers were so bad the first 9 games of the year that they were bottom 5 in every defensive stat, including points per game and all that. But the second half of the year, when, oh, by the way, they turned it around, went from 1-6 to 9-8, they were giving up about 20.5 points a game. How many points did they give up last night, Mark?
20.
And if by chance the Lions can give up between 20 and 24 points a game, how many games do you think they're going to win? Enough to win that division.
And last year, you look at the Eagles game early on, they lost a close one to the Eagles week 1. This year, they win the close week 1 game against the Chiefs.
So maybe we're foreshadowing. Maybe. About an hour from now, Miller and Moulton will make their season-long picks. Mark made his in silence 2 weeks ago. Just went through the book, went through every schedule, picked every game, added it up, said this is how it's going to turn out. He's been sitting there confidently ever since. I was up till 1 a.m.
Were you really? You did it after the game last night?
I was doing it all during the game. I was like an author and a novelist, ripping it up, throwing it out, starting all over again. I was a mad scientist last night. I have a Super Bowl prediction I don't think I've ever had before.
Oh, boy.
That's a tease.
That is a tease.
That's a tease right there.
And it's an Entertainment Tonight tease because we're not going to do our NFL season-long picks for another hour.
Right.
We will go through the NFL schedule and give you our fantastic 5 on the other side, surely to go the wrong way on Miller and Moulton.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So when we get to the so we just do our Fantastic Five here, right?
You said you wanted to do the
Oh yeah, and then the NFL games, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you handle the NFL games.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
Okay. Yep.
10 seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, before Pat Kirwan of NFL Radio and CBS's NFL Today show joins us. Talk about last night's Lions upset of the Chiefs, Joe Burrow's contract, Nick Bosa's contract, and we'll go through the NFL games, which Miller and Moulton will go through in a minute. But first, this is where you load up and go the other way. Miller and Moulton make their picks. You bet against us and make money. That's how this works, at least in September. Then in October, actually, Miller and Moulton start to get more right than they get wrong. But we followed previous year's form, Mark. You went 2-3 week one, and, well, you know me, in September, just there's 2-5, and that's almost a good week for me in September based on years past. So there you go. We're combined 4-8 week one. There you go. I say we're warming up for week two.
I have gone down a different path for week two, David. Doing something I very rarely do. I've taken some underdogs.
Whoa.
And one over.
Wow. Well, I was a little, I don't know if concern's the right word, but you made a pronouncement yesterday that you already had 4 of your picks done. And normally, and this is the truth, Mark is doing his picks during the commercial break before the segment in which we do our picks.
You're right.
So the fact that he had them done over 24 hours in advance frightened me, I got to be honest.
The other one came to me in a phone call yesterday with one of my degenerate friends around 2 p.m.
It came to you?
I was talked in, not even talked into it. The logic was so good. I'm like, you know what? It was because I'm breaking my theme this week, David. I'm not betting against Northwestern. They're playing UTEP.
What?
And UTEP's favored. And I don't know if UTEP can beat Northwestern. That worries me. So I stayed away from the Wildcats this week. I replaced them with USC Stanford. But I'm not laying the huge number. I'm playing the over. Because USC scored 66 last week. I think they had a bunch the week before that, and they've given up a couple of points. Stanford actually scored against Hawaii. So I am playing the over 69.5.
Wow. Okay, that's your first pick.
Give me the green wave. Give me Tulane and 7.5. I think they win outright against Ole Miss. I think the wrong team's favored. I get a touchdown and a hook. Give me Tulane. We've been talking about this game. I'm guessing we're both going to have it, David. You and I have been talking about this game for, it seems like, since the line came out. Jacksonville's only a 5-point favorite against Indianapolis. I don't see it. Give me Jacksonville. Lay the 5. But it doesn't really matter who the quarterback is when the Packers and the Bears play, because the Packers beat the Bears. I'm taking Jordan Love, and the point that I'm getting, it'll be an outright win, obviously, with just one. It's basically a pick 'em. Give me Green Bay over Chicago. And as much as I hate to do it, I hate to say it, if I lose this bet, I'm fine with it. I don't want this team to win. Not rooting for this team to win. But on Monday night, the Jets are beating Buffalo.
Wow. And over 2 underdogs?
3 underdogs.
3 underdogs. That's right. You're getting the point with Green Bay. JP Shadrick did tell us yesterday that for whatever reason, the Jags have had trouble scoring at Indianapolis. They've never scored more than 27 points. at Indy against the Colts. He thinks they will surpass that Sunday. So do Miller and Moulton. Mark, I wrote 3 NFL games down so quickly, it scares me. Jacksonville -5, the Steelers +2.5 because they're beating the Niners outright. Last 2 years, by the way, Mike Tomlin and the Steelers as underdogs went into Cincinnati and won, went into Buffalo and won. They're beating the Niners. And could somebody explain to me why the Seahawks are only a 5-point home favorite against the Rams? Could somebody explain that to me? 5? 5. Am I missing something? I mean, I'm sorry, this is the 2023 Rams, right? Who are going to seriously challenge the Cardinals and the Colts for the #1 pick in the draft. Rams are going to get their quarterback. Okay. Now I got 3 college games. Yes, that adds up to 6, not 5. But I stopped at 6. Mark, I'm with you. I'm taking Tulane in the 7.5. I think they're going to win outright. Ole Miss has a couple of injuries I think are going to bite them in this game. So since we're both picking Tulane, obviously the play is Ole Miss big. Arizona State's terrible. The kids don't want to play. They have no incentive to play. Okay, the school lied to them. They barely beat an FCS school last week. All right, Oklahoma State is only having to give 3 at Arizona State. Mike Gundy doesn't win a lot of road games against Power 5 teams. He's going to win one this week. And I hesitate to do it because it is the blue turf. And Boise State's getting points at home. But you know what? It's time for Gus Malzahn and John Reese Plumlee and UCF to play to the level that, quite frankly, they can play at. They're the more talented team in this game. Their roster is better. I'm going to take UCF on the road and lay the 3.5. And this is a game, by the way, that they may need to be bowl eligible and to hit their over-under and go over and all that. Because if they win this, they're going to be 3-0 non-conference heading into Big 12 play. So there you have it. 3 Sunday, 3 Saturday. Bada bing, bada boom.
All right, to the NFL we go, just talking the games and who we think is going to win. There's a couple of these that we won't spend hardly any time on. But let's start with the Florida games first, David. Tampa Bay and Minnesota. Do you give the Bucs any shot at all?
Absolutely, I do. In fact, there's a part of me that thinks they're going to cover the 5.5. But I do think Minnesota will win.
See if the close game syndrome continues for the Vikings. I'll take the Vikings. I'm with you, David. I think Tampa has a shot to cover, but I was not gutsy enough to take the points in that one. Jacksonville to Indianapolis, we both took the Jags laying the 5. We're obviously taking the Jags to win the game outright against one of the worst teams in the league. I have the Colts, picking in the top 5.
I have the Colts picking in the top 2.
And then Miami and the Chargers. I'm going against Lee. I don't think Miami gets it done on the road. I think the Chargers win this game. I think this is, the new OC is a big deal for the Chargers. I think that's going to make a big difference with what Justin Herbert does. I think they're the better team. I think the pass rush comes. No Armstead at left tackle. I don't like the Dolphins' chances in this game. Give me the Chargers.
I think the new DC for Miami is actually the bigger offseason signing. I think the Dolphins defensively, that's the defense in the AFC East that no one's talking about. Everybody's talking about the Jets defense and the Bills when they get Von Miller back. I actually think the Dolphins are going to be really good defensively. I'm going to take Miami in this one. Mark, it's the year of Miami. How could you forget that?
Nobody's talking about the Chargers this year. Nobody. Everybody is already. This is the opposite of normal. Usually we talk about the Chargers in September and they disappoint. No one's talking the Chargers. All right, to the rest of the games we go. Houston and Baltimore. We're not going to spend any time on this. Baltimore is winning the game. It's just a matter whether or not they cover the 10, David.
I do think the Texans are going to be better this year than they've been the last 2 years. Wouldn't surprise me if they win 6 games even.
Carolina's at Atlanta. Well,
I think Atlanta's a playoff team. How about that?
Looky there.
How about that? I think Carolina's going to get off to – I think Carolina's not going to have a good year. Put it that way. They're going to get off to a bad start, and then the schedule is really challenging in the middle. I like Atlanta.
I do as well. I have Atlanta as a team with a winning record, but not making the playoffs, believe it or not. Cincinnati at Cleveland. We've talked about this game a lot this week. Cleveland has had Cincinnati's number, David.
And I'm sticking with the team who has their number. I am. I'm going to go Cleveland at home. And I think Deshaun Watson gives Browns fans reason to get excited. I think they have a good game and they win.
Joe Burrow just got paid. He's going to show everybody why. I've told you for months now they're going to be the Super Bowl champs. Cincinnati wins. San Francisco at Pittsburgh. David already picked Pittsburgh in his sneaky 6. Everybody is picking Pittsburgh. Everybody's picking Pittsburgh to win the division. Hey, I hope they're right. I'll take San Francisco. They're the best team in the NFC next to the Eagles. Arizona at Washington. Does Arizona have any shot to cover in the game?
Well, it's funny. I saw Josh Dobbs play for the Titans last year in what was essentially a playoff game in Jacksonville, and he and the Titans had the lead until the final 5 minutes when their left tackle whiffed on a block and Dobbs got hit and fumbled and Jacksonville scored. He was okay. But Washington, the D-line's all healthy. They're say now McLaurin's going to play. It's at home, the new ownership. I think it's going to be a festive atmosphere. I like the Commanders.
As do I. Tennessee at New Orleans. New Orleans is many people's pick and my pick to win the NFC South. I take New Orleans in this game at home against Tennessee. How do you see it, David?
I lean Saints as well, although Tannehill's healthy and D-Hop and Derrick Henry. Might be a reason why the line's only 3. But give me the Saints.
David already picked Seattle in his picks against the Rams. The Rams are going to be awful this year. We're both taking Seattle in that game. Philadelphia is at New England. Do you give the Patriots any shot at home?
Well, Brady in the house, be very emotional. But come on. The Eagles have one of the 3 best rosters, and the Patriots have one of the bottom 12 rosters. I mean, if the Eagles don't give the game to New England, Philly should win. Spread's only 4, which is interesting, but I'll take Philly.
Interested to see what the Patriots offense looks like with Bill O'Brien running it, now a competent offensive coordinator, but there's no weapons on that team, David.
Thank you.
I just
and the Eagles.
Where's the difference maker for New England?
Right, and the Eagles have shut down corners too, even if they had difference makers. I just Philly with that offensive line will eventually wear them down and win.
David, I already took the Packers with my Fantastic 5 pick. Do you think Chicago wins at home against Green Bay?
They have to, or else the franchise will relocate to Portland. Okay, so I am taking the Bears. Even though I do not have any expectations for the Bears this year, but this is one in which they just have to win, or else it could all go awry.
Dallas at the Giants. You've talked about the track record that the Giants have against opening against Dallas. It's not good. Does it change this year?
The Giants have to prove they can beat the Cowboys and the Eagles, and until they do, I'm not buying it. The Giants are going to start 2 rookie corners in this game against Dak and those receivers. I don't think it's a good matchup. I also think this is about as healthy as the Cowboys line can be, right? Week 1, the Giants do not have a proven pass rush unless they blitz like crazy. They're really going to put those corners on an island. All right. I like Dallas.
I do as well. A lot of pressure on the Cowboys to get off to a good start. I think they will. I took the Jets against Buffalo. How do you see it?
I'm taking the Bills. Just too much. I'm sorry. Too much hype. You got to show it to me. Prove it to me.
So there's a quick run through all the NFL games, as well as our Fantastic Five, and in David's case, the Fantastic Five plus one.
I will say an interesting game. Raiders are 14-2 in their last 16 against the Broncos. Raiders are in Denver. It's Sean Payton, Russell Wilson, the whole deal. And I like Denver.
I do as well. Sean Payton's going to get it done.
But the line is a lot smaller than you'd think, right? 3.5. It's probably because, for whatever reason, the Raiders have had their number.
I have the Raiders with the top 5 pick this year, David. I think it's going to be a bad year for the Raiders.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I don't know if I have them top 5, but I think I have them top 7.
Miller and Moulton. We will talk all things NFL with someone that knows a hell of a lot more about it than we do. Pat Kirwan coming up next, right here. Where else but the Florida Sports Network? Thanks for listening, folks.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond
Hey, folks.
District.
20 years
Hello,
ago,
friends.
Jason had the idea for a jewelry store like no other. With a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, Mark.
Hi, Pat.
Well, good to hear you.
Seen all the texts and tweets from my Lions friends last night all over me, having a ball watching that.
Hey, Jimmy went down to the local bar for the first half, and he said it was out of control.
Well, I said to David, you see a Chiefs game and they show that drone shot or that wire camera shot, it's all red. I was amazed how much blue made it into Kansas City and bought tickets.
Yeah, that's right. I was surprised too. I've seen it before in a playoff game with the Bengal fans, but I have not seen it like that. but they've been waiting a long time. They have not spent a lot of money on road trip games. Yeah, it was great to watch. Good start for the league.
Absolutely. They look like geniuses starting out now with the game that they did.
Well, I'm good friends now with Campbell. Only because I hooked him up with Cower, and he and Cower talk all the time, and they go, it's like his little brother now. And he looks like him, he acts like him. Fake punts. Bill's into all that stuff now.
I have to admit, I like to be aggressive, but I would have punted 4th and 2 with 2.5 to go.
Yeah, that I'm with you on that. And there was a moment where Dan's face looked like he wished he punted too. And I would not have gone and shotgun and empty and all that stuff. I would have run the ball behind that line.
Well, now I'm with you there. I had no problem with it. In the moment, I thought they were going for it the whole time, particularly with the 3rd down play that they called.
Yep. I don't think anyone was shocked that he did go for it, but that's Dan for you. But behind that line, I would have run the ball. Just pound that shit in there. I tell you, I'll say it on the air though. That rookie class in Detroit is going to rival what Seattle did last year.
Man, oh man, did they get some play out of those rookies?
Yeah. First game in their careers, big time in Kansas City. They look like they're veterans, those guys.
That Campbell's going to be a player.
You know what? I love the guy. Mike Tannenbaum called him a terrible draft pick. And I go, Mike, we can argue about this all you want. That guy, he was the smartest guy I interviewed last year. Of all the interviews, and we interviewed just about every draft pick.
That's the Iowa linebacker, right?
Yeah.
That's the guy I was pounding the table for a month.
He's phenomenal, and he's got some range. That play he made to block that ball down.
Yep. Tackles like a man, too. I mean,
if you sit,
I don't love the other line, but I don't love that long-haired linebacker for Detroit.
Anzalone.
I don't think he's anything, special.
He's just a Dan favorite from New Orleans. He's hurt all the time. He left college early because he was finally healthy. He said, I got to go now. I might get hurt again. Alex. He grew up in the same town as Ross Tucker. Pennsylvania guy. No, all of them look good. Those 4 rookies, man. Hey, how smart do they look now for saying goodbye to Hawkinson? Hawkinson gets the highest tight end deal ever, and now they got Laporta.
10 seconds.
I'm happy for Campbell. I'm happy for Aaron Glenn, my boy. He didn't have to handle Kelsey last night, but actually, when they went for it and missed, David. That's when I thought the secondary, they spent a lot of money. They came through.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And just like that, it is the 3rd and final hour of Miller and Moulton, at least along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. The Diamond District bonus hour is an hour away, but on Fridays at the top of the 8 o'clock hour, it's Pat Kirwan. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains and CBS's NFL Today show. Joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and a dozen locations in between Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Very eventful opening night to the NFL season, Pat. Welcome.
Oh, good to be here. I loved the game last night. It was a great kickoff for the NFL. There were a couple of things that bothered me, as always. The ridiculous Mr. Taylor right tackle in the backfield the entire game. And even with that, Hutchinson lands up with 5 pressure hits on the quarterback. He was getting ready to have 3 sacks. And they didn't correct it. Not once, and it was horrendous how bad it was, and he didn't care, and they didn't stop him. So that bothered me. And when guys on the TV start talking about it, former officials, it's embarrassing. But I don't know. Last year, I thought Seattle had the best rookie class in a long time, and now Detroit, to me, looks like they could rival it. There were 4 rookies. Opening night in Kansas City, those 4 kids were outrageously good.
Pat, that doesn't happen very often.
No.
I mean, you have to give the Lions GM a lot of credit because these picks were not loved. They picked guys in spots that they were not, they were supposed to be taken a lot later. Campbell was a little bit early. The running back was early. So, I mean, to get these players, to put them into the lineup and them to produce says a lot about their general manager.
It does. And if you looked at the opening day, the starting roster, they kind of sheltered them outside of Laporta, who had to line up as the starter. The other guys were going to come off the bench and play roles, whether it's a nickel back, third down back, and they all played their roles beautifully. The GM does a nice job. He's got a couple of guys. John Dorsey works for them. John, former GM, Kansas City, Cleveland, worked out of Green Bay with Ron Wolf. He does a very good job of telling those guys, or at least giving his opinion, this is a football player. This is the kind of guy Dan will coach and want to coach. So, which leads me to Dan. Now, Dan and me, I said it on the air yesterday, he's the reincarnation of Bill Cowher. He operates like him. He's orchestrates the team the way, and they follow him. The fake punt was ridiculous. It was kind of a sin, and they were energized off that play. And at the end, when they go for it and they didn't get it on that 4th down play, I think I just would have run the ball again because that run block group up front is pretty damn good.
Well, them and the Eagles, Mark Schlereth said it last year opening day when those two teams faced one another. He said these are the 2 best offensive lines in the league, and I think he's been proven correct. Pat, don't want to over, dramatize the Chiefs' loss, but they exchanged 2 offensive tackles. Both tackles came back to bite them. They did not upgrade the wide receiving core. In fact, they didn't even keep it intact. They downgraded it. Their wide receiving core hurt Mahomes in a big way. And we saw the significance of Travis Kelce. I mean, when Miller and Moulton are pointing out for months, if something happens to Travis Kelce, this is a pretty ordinary offense. And Detroit was able to just, hold it to 20.
Yeah, so you look at it over 2 years, Tyreek Hill's gone, and they because they won last year, the mindset of the fans in Kansas City is, well, we can win without him. And I kept saying that no, you really need guys like him that defy the X's and O's. So they put all that pressure on Kelce, but Juju came through for them. Pretty consistent professional receiver, catches the ball. But they think Kadarius Toney and those guys they were terrible last night. If Mahomes doesn't run and escape sacks, they had no offense.
And he was able to escape pressure quite a few times, as Pat pointed out, Hutchinson with pressures throughout the game, but not getting the sacks. And a tough guy to get down. Obviously, Mahomes can do it with his legs as well. But now looking forward to the Chiefs, yeah, they're going to get Kelce back. Yeah, they're going to fix the defense. Even if the defense played just fine. But when you look at Kansas City, do you think of them the same way? I mean, are we overreacting week 1 that they're still the top team in the AFC, or do you change your mind after seeing what you saw last night?
I don't change my mind yet. I mean, it takes a while for me to come down off the Kansas City mountain here. This was a team, I think the 3 of us talked about this. They should have gone after D-Hop. They need a key number 1 guy. As Kelce got older, I kept saying, to have a guy on the other side that could be the one when people are doubling Kelce in the red zone, and now you throw the fade route to D-Hop. So if you want to win Super Bowls, you're going to need some guys that defy X's and O's, and there was one sitting there for you, and you decided to pass on it. So they could have some trouble. And I think, Mark, knowing what you said last week and the other day, the Chargers could be the team to give them some trouble.
Well, we came up with something earlier in the show. If you're Kansas City, do you seriously, over the course of the next 6 weeks, contemplate taking Mike Evans off Tampa Bay's hands? I mean, Evans is given the Bucs until tomorrow to work out the contract extension, and he very professionally yesterday said, both sides will just agree to move on if we don't get a deal done. No hard feelings, that they have to do what they have to do and I'll have to do what I have to do. Well, if I'm the Chiefs and if they don't come to a deal by tomorrow, Pat, I'm starting the phone calls as to what it's going to take Mike Evans off their hands.
I agree with that, except there's a bigger problem up in the suite, Mr. Jones, and what his contract was. However close they were to having a deal, let's call it $28 million a year. The second Bosa got $34 million a year. As I described Brett Veach to the listeners, I said he took his pen, which was on a piece of paper, and he threw it straight up in the air, and it's stuck in the ceiling, and he can't get it out. That is a problem. And you can go to the bank of Mahomes. I guarantee if you went to Mahomes and said, we got a shot to get Evans, can we manipulate your contract, which we were going to do anyway after Burrow got done, which is done. But now, can you fit them all in? That's the problem. If I was Chris Jones, I would have not shown up at that game. What are you doing? Either you're on the field as a player or you're home watching the game.
I agree.
100%. 100%. All right, Pat, talk about the Joe Burrow contract. I mean, David and I both think he might have left a little money laying on the table.
God only knows, how much money's out there. I know our government prints money like crazy, but now the Bengals print money. It's like incredible, So that's the market we're in. But I say this all the time. We're paying quarterbacks, defensive tackles. We're paying defensive ends, occasionally a left tackle. So where's the money coming from? It's coming from running backs. It's coming from tight ends, and it's coming from safeties. So the allocation is what this is. This is not like I get calls all the time. We're spending too much money. I said, no, they're spending the same amount of money. They're just spending it in different places.
We think, though, that much like Aaron Donald's contract held up for nearly 3 years, we think that Burrow's contract, outside of when they renegotiate Mahomes, and they'll make sure that he makes a few shekels more. But we think now, outside of Trevor Lawrence, Pat, who in the next 2 to 3 years can look a general manager in the face and say, I deserve Burrow Mahomes money?
Well, no one right away, but the truth of the matter is the ripple effect of the deal is other guys are going to make more. They're not going to make what he's making, but they're all going to make 10% more because of that contract. That's what's going to happen.
All right, let's get to some of the games, Pat. And I know we've got another segment with you as well, but let's talk about the games in state first off. Miami and the Chargers. The Dolphins, obviously high expectations, but the Chargers, I think, have kind of been under the radar this offseason because so much is made of so many other teams in the AFC. How do you see it?
I like the Chargers in this game. They've played before. I think Justin will throw the ball against these guys well. I don't know what Tua is going to do. I mean, they're going to come after him. But at the end of the day, it's a road game for the Miami Dolphins. The Chargers, to me, I'm with you on the old under the radar, but no one trusts them. They're not under the radar. People just won't get on the Charger bandwagon until they deliver. They live in fear of, I've cheered for the Chargers before, but I'm cheering for them here. And Eckler's an underrated player. So give me the Chargers. And I think the game will be pretty high scoring.
Not to get two X's and O's, but what in the world, if there's no Teron Armstead, what in the world are the Dolphins going to do when you've got a pair of tackles that just can't block the ends? How do you work around that?
Well, it's fast pass, and so it's shotgun fast pass, and he's pretty good at throwing the shallow cross, that being Tua. They have no choice here. They're going to have to get rid of the ball, and they need to get rid of the ball for the kid anyway because they can't afford to have him taking a lot of hits. I think they've been developing an offense that's Tua specific, that's going to be quick game all the time. I don't think they're going to let him set up deep in the pocket and throw the ball down the field. He's not great at it anyway, but he's not bad at it. But they don't have the time. And if they were putting a stopwatch on this, they know it's 1.5 and it's better be gone.
Got about a minute and a half left. So let's talk about the Bucs in Minnesota. How do you see that one, Pat?
Yeah, I'm cheering for Baker. I kind of like his tenacity, and he is growing up, but I don't like him in Minnesota. Minnesota's, now you talk about a team under the radar. I'm not picking them, but if you look at that roster and compare it to Green Bay and Chicago, you got to ask yourself, why aren't they in contention for at least the second spot in the division? I'll take Minnesota and Kirk Cousins.
All right. Do you think it's because we all think they grossly overachieved last year? They were not a 13-win team. They were probably closer to a 10-win team who got exposed by a pretty ordinary Giants team in the playoffs.
I agree with that. but a 10-win team in the NFC this year could make the playoffs. And the wild cards are wide open for a 10-win team. So Cousins, Jefferson, the kid from USC, they'll be okay. They're not going to be great, but I think they're just ignored by all of us because we got into the Lion hype, which now is doubled down. So Minnesota will be under the radar, to Mark's point about the Chargers, but I think they'll win this game.
And finally, Jacksonville and Indy. This is, David and I both laid the points. I think you probably would too, Pat.
I'd give more, actually.
Well, but this is a house of horrors place for Jacksonville. They've never scored more than 27 points here, just like Jacksonville's become a house of horrors place for the Colts. For whatever reason, the Jags stink in Indianapolis.
Aren't they? There's a couple games on the schedule this week that fit that bill. Cincinnati stinks in Cleveland. Let's start with that one. Here's another one where the matchups are just strange, and it's almost always division play. David, you know that. You got a division opponent that's got your number.
And I know you've mentioned on your show as we head to break, the Raiders have had the Broncos number here in the last 7-8 years. Josh Jacobs has never lost to Denver.
I know, this is amazing, but that's how division play goes.
He's Pat Kirwan. He joins us twice a week, courtesy of Pinchers, with locations from Tampa to Key West. Pinchers, where you cannot fake fresh. More with Pat coming up on the other side. The text line's open if you have any questions for Pat as well at 21,000 right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
All righty.
Oh, I'm fired up. That was a great start to the week, because you're right. There's some intriguing games this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, to drop 8 division games on the first weekend.
And then you throw San Francisco, Pittsburgh, and Miami and the Chargers in there as well.
Yeah, 6 home dogs. Now, I challenge my listeners, can you find 3 winners in the 6 home dogs? Cleveland, Indy, Pittsburgh, New England, the Giants, and Jets.
I think the Jets are more, I think the Jets are winning. Flat out.
Yeah.
David's got Pittsburgh winning and Cleveland winning.
Right. So he's to find 3 home dogs. I mean, I always try to pay attention to it. I don't know if there'll be 3, but I bet you there are 2.
Saw a stat one of the bookies put out since 2010. If you just bet the money line on the division home dogs, you'd be winning money.
Yeah, I
They're
believe
straight.
that.
They're straight up. It's a 500 thing of home dogs winning is just it's since and particularly in week 1. So thought it was an interesting stat.
It is. It's the division play is like, be careful.
Mm-hmm.
We just talked about, Cleveland's number on Cincinnati, Indy's number on Jacksonville, the Raiders' number on Denver. I mean, the Raider thing is ridiculous. Now those fans, they count playing Denver as an automatic win, which is a disastrous mentality. But they do. Oh no, it's Denver. We always beat them. I go, always in the past has nothing to do with today. That is Sean Payton over there. I was serious about. How many points would you give the Colts if you had to?
Well, I wouldn't want to give them more than 7 just because, but if I had to, I'd probably go all the way up to 9.5.
Me too. And if I thought I got a chance to make a real ton of money, I'd do it.
Right.
I mean, Jacksonville,
But like
Lawrence.
here, I mean, like, how do you not take the Jags and the Seahawks and do them together, in which you now get both teams in a point?
I don't know why you wouldn't.
I mean, that would say, and obviously these bets far more times than not don't work out, but I mean, all they have to do is win for you to win that bet. That's it. All the
That's a
Jags and
no-brainer.
Seahawks have to do is win for you to win that bet. How could you not win that bet?
I'm with you. You got someone we can throw some money at?
I mean,
I always do.
I was going to say,
I know a guy.
You know what I always thought, Mark? You were the guy.
Well, not that far off.
Hey, after stone crabs, when we had that experience for 2 years, I used to wonder where they came from.
No, that was actually legit. We were selling those to restaurants. I just would keep we'd keep 50 to 100 pounds because we had so many people locally that wanted them.
Yeah.
Now they're so damn expensive.
Oh my goodness. I didn't have one stone crab this season.
I got to figure out, I've got my membership back that, that Restaurant Depot. I don't know if you go in Fort Myers, there's a place called the Restaurant Depot, but if you own a business, you get a membership. And usually I got to stop in there and see if they have them this year, because that might be our best bet.
There you go. I'm all for that. I spoiled my kids the couple of years ago. Oh, it was like, yeah, have 20 of them. Here. Don't worry about your cholesterol. Have another 10.
Well, do you remember, Pat, back in the day, 10 or so years ago, you brought your 2 buddies into the studio?
3 buddies. That was
3.
hysterical. 3 buddies. They finished golf.
Hey, and the best part of that, when we were in the studio while they were eating, I got a text from Frankie. He goes, keep talking. This is unbelievable. They went out to the car and got a cooler full of beer and brought it in there.
I sat in Cassio's office and just downed stone crabs for like 2 hours.
Everything that was on the menu was in that array of things.
Yep, we did an hour together, and those stone crabs were gone.
Frank,
Gone.
I'll never forget it. Keep talking. We're loving this in here.
Yep.
So that's all right. We played golf before it, and when we got done, we went to play golf at another course. And I said, "I'm not paying for golf. I just paid for lunch."
You got that right.
You guys are paying for me.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan, Miller and Moulton. In about 15 minutes' time, will make their season-long NFL picks. Who will win the Super Bowl? We'll take our stab at it coming up in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Pat, before we get back to the games, put your general manager's hat on again for a second. So Bosa gets 34 a year. What's the number now going to be for Chris Jones, and or what should it be? But also, what's the number going to be for Micah Parsons? I mean, should Parsons get more than Bosa? Because now we're getting to quarterback money for non-quarterbacks.
We have gotten a non-quarterback, guys getting quarterback money. But yeah, Parsons was the first guy to tell everyone how happy he was for Bosa. He wasn't happy for Bosa. He was happy for himself. Mom, buy that new house. I just got money. I paid. Do I think he deserves Bosa money yet? No. But I do think it's going to be close. It'll be over 30 million. That's the ripple effect. When you get these outlier deals, look, no one challenged the Aaron Donald deal financially from when he got it to now. They couldn't get to that deal, and a lot of agents surrendered to 28 million, 27 million. We saw a bunch of guys get big paydays this year, 25 million. So all those numbers were pushed up because of Donald, but they couldn't get to him. That's going to happen now with Bosa, except for Parsons. And I'll tell you who's going to make some money that never thought he was going to make the kind of money he's going to make is Montez Sweat. That guy's a good player. And if he thought he was going to get 23 million, he's going to now get 29 million. So it's going to happen. And we had this goes all the way back to the first time the Giants dropped all that money on Mike Strahan. And that changed the whole market for defensive ends.
And it also may be, Mark, why this is definitely the last year for Chase Young in Washington, because they're just not going to be able to keep all those guys. They can't afford them.
He hasn't delivered enough to go. He's the highest drafted guy that never got an option year.
And, you look at San Francisco with all the money they're paying at premium positions, they're going to obviously have to, if it doesn't work, you wonder how many more GMs dig in and don't want to pay it, because if San Francisco doesn't work this year with the way they're all in, how will that affect things?
Well, you build a sandcastle when you pay a couple of guys. Look, if the top three guys cap charges 40%, you're in trouble. You're holding your breath every day at practice and every day at every game. So you get to those points, and it happens to a couple of teams. And now the 49ers are going to be vulnerable. I respect them because you can't let Bosa go. I felt like they were about $3 million over what they should have been. Did they do it because they wanted him on the field for opening day? How many more millions did it cost to get that done?
The Niners, by the way, top 9 players are 90% of the cap for next year.
Well,
top 9 players are 90% of the cap for next year. That's the kind of juggling they're going to have to do.
Well, it's called draft picks and college free agents. But if you get an injury to a guy with dead cap, I was looking at someone yesterday, and someone said, well, they'll get rid of him. I said, it's 59 million of dead cap money on a guy. You're stuck.
So does Bosa coming back give them an edge over Pittsburgh in week 1, Pat?
Well, it's going to be a great battle. I thought Dan Moore this summer was holding off the Georgia tackle, and he did a good job. And now the question is, can Bosa play? I was talking to Cower about this. What's a reasonable number of plays you're going to put him on the field for? And you know how it goes. You think he can keep going? And the kid goes, yeah, and then he goes out there. But I don't know. I think Bosa will get a sack in the game, but I don't think he can really play effectively more than 25 plays.
Does New England have anything for Philadelphia?
They have no one who defies the X's and O's. I've heard you guys talk about it, and I agree with you. They got a nice bunch of guys outside of Matt Judon, who's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
They're just a team.
Yep.
Now, can a unified team that's well coached, that doesn't make mistakes, that'll play and wait for you to lose? Yeah, they can win some games doing that. They just can't win the big ones that way. Who's going to defy the X's and O's with a minute left in the game? None of the receivers. So it's going to be hard for them.
Cincinnati and Cleveland, Pat. Cleveland's one of the home dogs. 6 of them this week. This is one that's obviously a really live dog, we all think.
Yeah, everyone's waiting for this because Cleveland has had Cincinnati's number for a long time here. And they've got players that have no real experience of losing to the Bengals. So the Battle of Ohio has been on Cleveland's side for a long time. I don't know about it this time, though. I really go back and forth on this mainly because when I was at camp, Deshaun Watson didn't get me excited. I didn't really like what I was watching. It looked kind of pedestrian to me. It didn't feel the way I wanted it to feel for a guy who's getting paid like that.
My favorite game of the week is Green Bay at Chicago, for all the reasons that we know. That if you're a Bears fan emotionally, can you really handle if Jordan Love comes to your place and in his second career start beats you after 30 years of Favre and Rodgers? Honestly, I think they may move to Portland if they lose this game. I'm really worried about the emotional well-being of a Bears fan if Jordan Love continues ownership of the Bears.
You're right about that. But I will say this. The thing that leads me to Green Bay can still do it is not the quarterbacks. It's the running backs in Green Bay. Those two guys, Rodgers handed off a lot to them. And when those guys play, Aaron Jones, forget it. He's 10-1. Yeah, it's partially because of Rodgers, but that guy has almost a 5-yard rushing average. Dillon has almost a 5-yard rushing average. And with this quarterback, don't you think they're going to try to run the ball 40 times?
They better.
I think this is a low scoring, maybe a Green Bay win, and I'm not taking the Bears. But I agree with you. There's going to be a suicide watch after it for the fan base.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, man. And the Giants, who had no expectations last year and had a really great season. But the one team they can't beat is the Dallas Cowboys, particularly when they open the season against them. Anything going to be different this year?
No, I know, David, we talked about Tuesday. They got rookie corners on the field. Dak Prescott takes a lot of heat. You know what? He's not that bad. If he's the longest standing starter in the NFC on a team, and he's a good player. He doesn't have to be a great player to play. He's playing against another good quarterback in Daniel Jones. So to me, they'll both play well, but it won't be enough because I think Dallas has their number. And I hate to say it that way because the past doesn't really mean the future or the present, but I don't know how they're going to cover those receivers.
I don't either, especially early in the season. And maybe they'll be better equipped to play Dallas later in the season. But unfortunately for the Giants, they get them week 1. Hey, Tennessee at New Orleans is an interesting game because Tannehill, Henry, D-Hop, they're all healthy. This team owned that division with 6 weeks to go in the season last year, and they'd owned it for a few years. And then everybody got hurt. Okay, Tennessee, New Orleans, and we don't know who's going to be productive for the Saints. No Kamara. Michael Thomas has been MIA for 2 years. Carr's now in New Orleans. I find this game interesting.
I do too. Tennessee has kind of been proclaimed you passed your window of opportunity. That's how people describe Tennessee. You had your shot, and you found out that the formula of running the ball in the modern NFL was not going to get you to a Super Bowl. And I stood there and watched them run out of gas in Kansas City. They're just trying to pound it. New Orleans is an interesting run defense. People, if you look at their rankings, it's pretty bad. But if you watch how they are against running backs, they are pretty effective. Carr will be okay. He's the best quarterback in their division. Is he better than Tannehill? I think people would think so. I don't know if either of the guys is going to be great, but I'll take the Saints in the game.
All right, we have to make our picks coming up after the break. Have you made your picks yet on your show for the season?
Saturday. We're going to wait for the last medical report. I have so many names on the question mark medically. If I hear another hamstring injury, I'm going to stop walking myself for a few weeks just in case I got hurt.
All right. How about this then? And we've got like 20 seconds. We both have Arizona on the clock. You nominating anybody else?
Rams.
Oh,
they're awful.
And they will move players if they're that bad.
Oh yeah. Next year they're going to have a cap space. They could move some guys. And Cooper Kupp might be done for the year. If that's a nerve damage thing, that'll be bad for them.
He's Pat Kirwan, CBS's NFL Today show, but moving the chains weekdays from 3 to 7, and him and Jim do a Saturday 2 to 5 show as well. He joins us twice a week, courtesy of Pinchers. Pat, safe travels. We'll make our picks next.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
By the way, that look on your face was kind of like when you got that Severson voicemail back in the day. Okay, just enjoying that message and what have you.
Oh, buddy of mine up in Michigan, dancing around to a Lions rap song, singing it. Lions gonna win. Lions gonna win B. Lions gonna win.
That's awesome.
They win every blanking week.
Uh-huh.
And he's dancing around the room. He is my age.
That's awesome.
So
talk about a fan base that deserves it.
Exactly. And I think their whole thing's going to turn around there. I mean, the Pistons now with 3 lottery picks should be close to being a playoff team this year.
Well, and if the Tigers' young players could ever come through, and we think the Wings actually have turned it around.
Well, and if the Wings get Patrick Kane, who said he wants to play there, to play with his buddy, that makes their top 6 much better. Not saying they're contending for anything, but all 3,
but you could get in, right. You could get in the playoffs.
And they've got the money to sign Kane and be a 1-year deal as they're trying to get to where they want to go to. That's,
Man, that's Chelios all over again.
Yeah, but see, they're not. It's a different thing because that whole Patrick Kane, they're not rivals anymore. It's awful.
It is. Give me the Patrick and the Adams, the Norris. I used to love when Berman would go the
NFC Norris.
Norris. And the nastiest rivalry was in the Smythe. It's Calgary and Edmonton. Poor Winnipeg couldn't beat either one of them.
Yeah, September 15th through the 18th. So next week is that NHL showcase at Hertz.
Yeah, I saw the email. I was excited. by it. I'm like, wow, this is
I'm just
cool.
fired up on the 18th. Literally, there's a game at 10 a.m. I'm finishing the show, and I'm driving directly to Hertz and watching hockey for a couple hours. And, of course, my son was telling me that Tampa's draft pick is being compared to – or Nashville's draft pick, the goaltender, is being compared to Vasilevsky, goaltender. He's like –
take it easy.
No, he said compared. He goes, you might
Right.
if you're going to – no, he just said go watch this guy. The comparisons are really lofty. Might be worth going to see this guy play. That was all. I think he was a first-round draft pick. It's all right here.
I know it is, Jay. I know it is. It's Jeff Gordon.
88.
It's Jeff Gordon. I know.
Can't get through on that effing this.
It's effing Jeff Gordon.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the top of the hour, our final segment along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas. Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits at the top of the hour in the 239. We are Miller and Moulton, and this is the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We've had a jam-packed show. NFL season underway last night. Lions with the upset. Travis Kelce injury, Chris Jones holdout. Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore are not receivers you can count on. Thank you very much. Detroit with a huge win, biggest win they've had in, hell, I could argue biggest win they've had in 30 years. But Mark, it is time for us to make our picks. Picks we have to live with for not just the next 3+ months, 4+ months. Mark, these picks will haunt us for decades, as all of our picks seem to do.
And David, just to make sure that's a fact, I'm going to need you to do something that scares me to ask you, because I'm not writing down all your picks like I do with your Fantastic Five that turns into 87 picks and then email them to Felipe to post on floridasportsnetwork.com. I need you to snap a photograph of those things and text it to me, because we're posting them.
I can't. There's too many cross-outs and arrows and what have you.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll have to, I don't know. I'll write it out nice and neat, and I'll send it at a later time.
Perfect. All right.
I'll do it on the plane.
There you go.
Person asked me, what are you doing? I'm like, these are our picks for the season in the NFL. We're posting them on a website. They're very important. I'll tell them who they are, and you should bet the other way. I know you don't know me, but I can make you a lot of money right now.
All right. You want to give division? How do you want to do this?
Yeah. Pick a conference and a division. Let's go.
All right. Well, let's start in the AFC East, the division, the toughest division out there.
Mm-hmm.
I have Buffalo winning the division again.
So do I, in a tiebreaker with the Jets. They're both 11-6. I have the Dolphins finishing 9-8 and missing the playoffs.
I have the Dolphins finishing 10-7 and missing the playoffs. I have New England at 5-10, having the 5th overall pick in the NFL draft.
You mean 5-12, right?
5-12, sorry.
Yeah. I have them 7-10, by the way. So it sounds like we have the exact same order, or did you have the Dolphins ahead of the Jets?
No. The exact same order. That should work out really well. To the north we go, where I have Cincinnati winning the division, Baltimore making the playoffs at 11-6, Pittsburgh 10-7, missing the playoffs, Cleveland 7-10.
I have all 4 teams above 500 in the north. The Steelers will win the division and be the 2 seed in the AFC at 12-5. Thank you very much. The Bengals and Ravens will both make the playoffs. Cincy with 11 wins, Baltimore with 10. The Browns miss the playoffs at 9-8.
To the south we go, where I have the 2 seed Jacksonville Jaguars winning the division, the only team over 500 in the division. Tennessee at 7-10. Indy and Houston with 2 of the 3 worst records in the league. I have them both at 3-14.
The Jacksonville Jaguars will be the number 1 seed entering the AFC playoffs with a record of 12-5. The Titans finish 8-9. I have Houston with 5 wins. the Colts with 3. The Colts and Cardinals will finish tied for the number 1 pick in the draft. The Rams will have the 3rd pick of the draft. I don't quite know who's going to own the tiebreaker between the Colts and the Cardinals, but they will both go 3 and 14.
In the West, I have Kansas City winning, being the 1 seed. I did this before last night. I didn't change it. I'll stick with it. It's written down. It's in pen. I didn't feel like crossing anything out. I have the Chargers as the 6th seed, Denver at 7 and 10, the Raiders at 4 and 13. They'd have the 4th pick overall in the draft.
The Kansas City Chiefs will play in Los Angeles against the Chargers week 18, and that will determine who wins the division and makes the playoffs and who goes home. The Chiefs will win the game and the division, but they will be the 4 seed. And the Chargers at 10 and 7 will miss the playoffs. And they will miss the playoffs, Mark, because they will have lost to the Ravens in the regular season. And so the Ravens will be the 7 seed, and the Chargers with 10 wins will be at home.
And I have the Chargers largely because I have them winning this week against Miami. And I think that's the difference between the two teams in the wild card race. So to review, I have Buffalo, Cincinnati, Jacksonville, and Kansas City winning divisions. Baltimore is the 5 seed, the Chargers as the 6, the Jets as the 7 seed.
I have Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, Kansas City. Jacksonville's the 1, Pittsburgh's the 2, Buffalo's the 3, Kansas City's the 4. The Bengals are the 5, the Jets are the 6, the Ravens are the 7.
In the NFC East, I have Philadelphia as the 1 seed, 14 and 3, best record in the league. Dallas squeaks into the playoff with a tiebreaker at 9 and 8. The Giants are 8 and 9, and Washington is 6 and 11. Sam Howell's not going to get it done.
The Dallas Cowboys are winning the NFC East. A team has not repeated as NFC East champion since 2003-2004. Until that streak is broken, I'm honoring it. Besides, it's been a while since the Cowboys have won the division. They win a tiebreaker with the Eagles. They're both 11 and 6. The Giants and Commanders both finished below 500. The Giants at 8 and 9.
I have Detroit winning the North with 11 wins, 1 better than the 5 seed Minnesota Vikings, who I think are underrated this year. They're going to go 10 and 7 and make the postseason. I have both Green Bay and Chicago at 6 and 11.
I have the Detroit Lions as the number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs. That's right. Jacksonville and Detroit will be the top seeds entering the NFL playoffs. The Lions, thanks to their win last night, moved up from 11 and 6 to a 12 and 5 pick. No other team in the NFC will win 12 games. They are the only team above 500 in the division. The Vikings fall back to 8 and 9. I have the Packers finishing a game ahead of the Bears.
I have New Orleans winning the division. They're the only team making the playoffs, but I do have Atlanta as a tiebreaker with Dallas. They lose. They're 9 and 8 in the season, but miss out on the playoffs. I have Tampa and Carolina tied for the bottom at 6 and 11.
Well, you and I have a lot of similarities in this division with one difference. Final game of the regular season, by the way, is Atlanta at New Orleans. That will determine who wins the NFC South. The Saints will win at home. They will win the division at 10 and 7. The Falcons, however, will be the 7 seed at 9 and 8. And yes, the Bucs and Carolina will both finish 6 and 11.
In the West, I have San Francisco winning the division, Seattle finishing 2nd. This is probably my biggest mistake that I had the Rams at 6 and 11. I think that's way too high for the Rams. I did this a couple of weeks ago. Or a week ago. Cooper Kupp was not yet out for at least 4 weeks and maybe the season. I have Arizona on the clock at 2 and 15.
Like you, Niners winning the division with 11. Seattle a wild card with 10. I have the Rams at 4 and 13 and the Cardinals at 3 and 14. So 2 of the top 3 picks in the draft will come from the NFC West this year.
So that's Philadelphia, Detroit, New Orleans, and San Francisco winning the division for me. Minnesota the 5, Seattle the 6, Dallas the 7.
I have Dallas instead of Philadelphia as a division winner. Otherwise, the same. Detroit, New Orleans, and San Francisco. The 5 seed will be Philadelphia. The 6 seed will be Seattle. and the 7 seed will be Atlanta. So for me, 5 new playoff teams.
And I only have 4. I thought I had 5, and I re-looked at it. I only have 4 new playoff teams.
I have Lions, Saints, Falcons in the NFC, Steelers and Jets in the AFC. The 5 teams out would be Tampa Bay, Minnesota, the Giants, the Dolphins, and the Chargers.
I have an AFC championship game of Cincinnati and the Jets.
Well, Mark, I went round by round here,
I did as well. I just didn't bore everybody with the details. But I have Cincinnati playing the Jets because I have the Jets as the 7, upsetting Jacksonville as the 2 seed in the first round of the playoffs.
Well, I have the Jags and the Lions as the top seeds entering the playoffs, and I have neither one winning a playoff game because they will each get first-round byes. I have the Bengals coming to Jacksonville, getting revenge 6 weeks later after losing in early December in the regular season in Jacksonville. They will return the favor in mid-January and take the Jags out of the playoffs. Same with the Lions, by the way. Lions lose in the divisional round after getting a first-round bye. But, Mark, I have the 3rd-seeded Bills hosting the 4th-seeded Bengals in the AFC Championship game, and the Buffalo Bills are going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I have the 3-seed Bengals playing the 7-seed Jets and winning, and I have the 1-seed Philadelphia Eagles hosting the 3-seed Detroit Lions in the NFC Championship game, with the Eagles going back to the Super Bowl, and Cincinnati, they are your Super Bowl champions.
I have the 5th-seeded Eagles going on the road and beating the 4th-seeded Saints, and then going into Detroit and beating the top-seeded Lions. So the Eagles will return to the NFC Championship game. Dallas will get payback on the Niners. 3rd year in a row they will meet in the playoffs. This time, Dallas wins. The Cowboys will host the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. And the Dallas Cowboys will go to the Super Bowl.
Wow. Dallas and Buffalo for David.
30 years later, Cowboys and Bills. And the Buffalo Bills will win their first Super Bowl.
I'll tell you what, at least it wasn't according to Hoyle when the playoffs got around. David's got the Bills winning the Super Bowl. I have the Bengals winning the Super Bowl.
Come on now. I got Jacksonville and Detroit as the top seeds. I got the Steelers as a 2 seed. But, when we get to the playoffs, I mean, it's things are different in January. I don't know what to tell you. It's very difficult for me to pick against Joe Burrow. Very difficult.
So there you have it. NFL predictions sure to go wrong this year.
Absolutely. Can't remember. Honestly, I don't know if I picked the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl in the 90s. I mean, I'll really have to think about this. When I wrote this out, I walked around the place, stared at myself in a mirror, like, do you know what you just wrote out? There are so many teams that have offensive lines that worry me. Like Dallas's offensive line, if healthy, is outstanding. But, man, they have no depth, and they got a couple guys on that line who lately have gotten hurt. I mean, I do believe it will help Dak that they're going to run the ball more. I believe Mike McCarthy when he says he's going to run the ball more. I do.
And we'll see if Pollard can be a 1. I mean, we don't know. Can he be that guy?
But they have the corner. See, the funny thing is Dallas is a bad matchup with the Niners and a really good matchup with Philadelphia. And in theory, they'll have to go through both. And can they beat, one of them's become their nemesis and the other's just a rival. But listen, the last 2 years, by the way, at least 6 new teams have made the playoffs. The 2 years we've gone to 14 teams, 7 in each conference making the playoffs. I think last year was 7, and the year before I think was 6 new teams making the playoffs. So you're better off with whatever it is that you're all thinking right now. You really would be better off if you just scrap 6 or 7 of the teams that made the playoffs last year and just figure out who the new ones are. Because so far, that's what's happened since we've gone to 17 games and 14 teams.
The Lions and the Jags as 1 seeds.
Yep.
That would actually be good from the network standpoint, because then they would not play as many games in the postseason.
Right. Right. And they'd both be playing big boys. Okay. And the networks would then be rooting against a home team, but it'd be a great atmosphere. Right. I don't know if CBS cares. Super Bowl is going to be in Vegas. Honestly, I think CBS is like, whatever. Put whoever you could put Detroit and Jacksonville in the game. It won't matter. It's in Vegas, baby.
Fun show for you today along the network. If you missed any of it, go to the usual places to download it, or go to floridasportsnetwork.com as well to download any portion of the show that you may have missed today, including Lee Sterling with his picks, Pat Kirwan that we had for a half hour like we always do on Tuesdays and Fridays here on Miller and Moulton. We made our big picks. Holy cow. Cincinnati's my Super Bowl winner, Buffalo beating Dallas. That's David's Super Bowl. Have a great weekend. The bonus hour is next.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
4 days were unreal. The Friday through Monday was just. Oh, yeah. And Michael, I'm sorry, I don't trust the head coach. If Sean Payton, if they had fired the head coach after blowing that playoff game and hired Sean Payton, I'd pick the Chargers to go at least to the AFC Championship game. I do not trust that head coach. But, you know, they finished the year at home with Kansas City. They got Baltimore at home. They got the Dolphins at home. I mean, they got all the games at home to, you know, win and do good things. I can't believe, by the way, that I ended up picking a Dallas Buffalo Super Bowl. When I was going through it all, I was like, wow. I'm very excited for this season, though. I do think anything can happen this year. I don't know about you guys, but I really think it is totally wide open this year. No, Nick, it's not. But it's not a road game, though. Unless it's a lot like the cocktail party, to be honest with you, Nick. It's like half and half.
It'll be that way for the Rams too this year.
Oh yeah, hell, whoa! Whenever the Rams play the Niners, even when they're really good, it's more Niners fans. It's 60% San Francisco. Spitz, USC is the preferred pro team to every team in LA except the Lakers.
And the third team might be UCLA basketball.
Mm-hmm. Chaz, do you know why playing in Detroit's going to be difficult? Because they've got one of the two best offensive lines, and they've got weapons. That's why it's going to be different. And they've got a couple guys who can put pressure on the passer.
They look like they can get after a quarterback. I mean, you know,
Right.
they sack a lot of other quarterbacks yesterday a few times.
I mean, that's why it's going to be difficult. They got a roster.
Every Lions first, second, and third round draft pick played well last night. They had 4 rookies play well last night.
By the way, and the 1/3 round pick we're not going to see for a while, and Hooker. Man,
right.
If he hits, my goodness.
If he hits, oh my goodness. Wow. Wow.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
That was with some venom. That was with some, anger. I like it.
4th hour, and I'm still fired up.
How can you not be? After the Lions upset the Chiefs to get the NFL season underway, we just made our season-long picks, and I think even though at the very, 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 very end, it looked a lot like form, but we both have a lot of chaos. It's kind of like the NCAA tournament, Mark. We have brackets that are just bat blank crazy, and then we look at who our Final Four was, and we go, oh, wow, that's a lot of normal suspects there. But, man, do we have a whole lot of excitement leading up to it.
Yeah. Duke, Kentucky, Connecticut.
No, I understand. At the end of the day, we're making the case. There are a lot of good teams in the AFC, and yet I got the Bills coming out. You got the Bengals coming out. But, we both, I got Jacksonville and Pittsburgh as my top two seeds entering the playoffs. I got the Chiefs needing to win the final game of the regular season just to make the playoffs. I mean, that would be, a little crazy.
It would be.
And
it
I
definitely
think
would be.
And I think last night's result, if we're going to overreact, instead of overreacting Monday, overreact Friday, all right, I think that this is going to be the catalyst for a really fun, we have no idea what is going to happen NFL regular season.
Well, and what always happens in this regular season is there are fluky wins by teams. And that's going to end up being the difference for a lot of these teams, David. Someone's going to lose a game to a Houston this year that shouldn't. Someone's going to lose a game to a bad, either Chicago or Green Bay team that shouldn't. And those are going to be what we look back upon when it gets down to tiebreakers. And the one thing that we both had, and someone texted the show and said, you guys both had the Dolphins missing the playoffs, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Yes, we did.
Yeah. In part, you know why? Because they'll play 2 games in 2024 that count in the regular season. First off, the AFC and NFC East teams both have very challenging schedules this year. They really do. I mean, if you think a team in the AFC East is comparable to a team in the AFC North, you have to pick the team in the AFC North to make the playoffs. The schedule difference between the two divisions is staggering. It's at least a game. It's, I think, 2 games different. That's how different the schedules are. It's part of the reason I've got Jacksonville as the 1 seed in the AFC playoffs. And that's why I have 3 teams emerging from the AFC North, and I have the whole division above 500. I mean, they've got great crossovers, the AFC North does. The AFC East has got to play the AFC West and the NFC East. I mean, you could have really good. I'm telling you, Miami could be really good. Go through the schedule and tell me what you are willing to bet large amounts of money on right now is a straight up win. It's like 4 games that you're willing to bet large amounts of money on. And there's like 12, 13 in which you go, wow, that's a challenging game.
They finished the season, do the Dolphins, with the Jets, the Cowboys, at Baltimore, and home for the Bills.
Right.
And with everything that's going to be on the line at that point for all these teams.
And let's just say you think that they're every bit as good as those teams. I'll even agree with you. So that's 4 toss-up games. It's the National Football League. You can lose 4 toss-up games in a row. First off, the Dolphins' offensive line isn't healthy to start the year. You think, therefore, it's going to stay healthy throughout the entire season? Come on. I desperately want the Dolphins to be good.
I want them to win the division. We're rooting for the Dolphins, but they can't block.
It's a problem. It really is. It's a problem.
It scares the hell out of me, their offensive.
Yes, there were a couple teams I had to bail on because I'm like, I'm sorry, your line just scares the blank out of me. Scares the blank out of me. I can't do it. I mean, seriously, go through that Final 4 again for the Dolphins. By the way, I'm pretty sure I have all 4 making the playoffs.
The Jets.
Yep.
Cowboys.
Going to the Super Bowl.
At Baltimore, home for Buffalo.
Yeah. So 2 of my 4 Super Bowl teams the Dolphins have to finish the season with.
And the other side of it is for that division. Is New England really going to go 0-6 in the division? They may.
But if they go 1-5, who's the 1?
And that could be the difference. There's your division tiebreakers if all things are split otherwise.
Same thing could happen if Arizona and the Rams combined. I mean, I've got them combined with 7 wins. I think Mark has them combined with 5. Well, okay. Those wins, though, could be very damaging. Especially if, God forbid, it's against an AFC team. I mean, talk about needing to schedule maker gives you a win, you got to take it. So,
but off to a great start last night. Detroit with the win in Kansas City. A game that was, well, different than what David and I thought. We thought there would be more scoring.
Yep.
Both defenses played well.
We both thought it would be close, though. We both took the points, so we split our bets. We both took the points and took the over, and the play was the points and the under. Okay. All right, let's go. We'll say if you're a Lions fan, forget the win. Okay, that in and of itself obviously is jump up and down. But the fact that your defense got not one but two fourth quarter stops. You took the lead with, was it 7 minutes to go? By one. Mahomes had 2 shots for a field goal. The one drive he started on his own 45-yard line, and they got a kicker. He only needed 20 yards. He had 3 timeouts, 2.5 minutes, and needed 20 yards. And they went backwards. Chiefs made some decisions, which, Lions made some decisions. Seemingly in week 1, Mark, every decision the Lions made, who to draft, who to sign in free agency, looked brilliant. Chiefs got rid of both offensive tackles. How'd that look last night, Mark?
Well, it looked okay until the end, and when they finally had a holding penalty and a procedure penalty called on the last drive.
Right, but the right tackle was who they gave the big money to. They got rid of their left tackle, who was making about the same amount of money they paid their new right tackle, and then they signed the most penalized offensive lineman in the league, Donovan Smith, put him at left tackle, and Mark, with the game on the line, what did he do?
Held.
And by the way, he had held for 3 hours. They finally called one. I mean, the Chiefs better hope that the league continues to not call penalties on their tackles, because the one guy lined up incorrectly all game and jumped the snap count, and the other guy held on damn near every play.
As someone said in the text line, was that right tackle traveling? I know it's not a basketball term, but the way he kept moving his right foot up and down the whole time, he kept his pivot foot. He did keep his pivot foot.
Mark, I kept thinking he was the H-back, that he was the 6th guy on the line. Honestly, that's to me how far off the line he was. I'm like, well, obviously they're doubled up on that side. He's the H-back. And then I start doing the count, and I'm like, I'll be damned, that's the right tackle.
And come on, if we noticed it and the broadcast noticed, the coaches are yelling at the officials about this, and the officials did nothing until the procedure call at the end of the game was so blatant, because he was taking about a half-step jump. He took 2 steps before on the last drive. They had to call that one.
Tell you what, though, I don't think when Kansas City plays in Jacksonville in 9 days, I don't think those 2 guys are going to be able to get away with that. I mean, because when it's being talked about this much, and when the national broadcast and when the official on the national broadcast is criticizing the officiating, the league pays attention to that. So those tackles are going to have to pick it up in 9 days in Jacksonville. Now, they should have Kelsey back, and they may have Chris Jones back. By the way, how much money do you think Chris Jones made yesterday? Think he made any money? You think that's an extra $1 million right there?
Should be.
I'll tell you what, though, Pat's right. He never should have shown up at the game. I mean, dude, if you're going to show up, you got to play. I mean, come on. I mean, just stay home. You're holding out. You're holding out. Okay.
Players don't like it, but they understand it. Players don't have the same issues with holding out that fans do. They really don't. Because players know they got to get paid.
By the way, he a couple days ago said, I'm not going to show up till week 8. For the record, here's what he would forfeit if he actually sticks to his guns. a $500,000 offseason workout bonus, $100,000 missed mandatory minicamp fine, $10.4 million in lost salaries for the first 7 weeks of the season, and a $1.25 million sacks incentive. He'll lose $12.25 million if he sits out the first 7 games.
It doesn't make any sense. It really, I mean, to sit out, I get sitting out camp, even though they're not paying the fines anymore. I get it. I understand it. But at some point, you've got to do what Bosa did and get the deal done before week 1. Even if they're going to put you on a pitch count for week 1. You've made your point.
Yeah, but according to him, the Chiefs aren't willing to give him a raise. I mean, I will say the Chiefs have made some hard decisions before. They let guys, hell, they just let both tackles walk. I mean, they got no problem making hard decisions. They traded Tyreek. They took a look at their books. They said, we're not going to be able to pay this guy. Might as well get what we can for him. I got to say, if you're a Chiefs fan, though, you know, you take 21 points, and 7 of them were a gift. It was a pick 6 that shouldn't have been. I mean, you know, defensively, now you didn't hold up against that offensive line as the day went on. Well, not many teams are. I mean, if you're the Chiefs could argue this and go, Chris, I got to be honest with you. If we play like that defensively the rest of the year, we're fine.
Yeah, we had a Kelsey, and Tony may decide to put both hands around the football and grip it. We should be just fine.
Now, we could use a Mike Evans.
Who could?
Who's given the Bucs till tomorrow to work out a deal.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill, the Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
RCB, you're talking to the wrong guy. I love Mike Evans. I want to give his speech to try to get him into the Hall of Fame. But if I were the Bucs, I would move on from him. I'm going to get a 10th year out of Mike Evans, at age 30. I would trade him. I would have traded him in the offseason. I'll make a deal with the Chiefs right now. You give me a fourth for Mike Evans, a conditional fourth this year. If you re-sign him, I get a second in 2025. Maybe I'd do a third. A conditional third. It's a third. If you re-sign him, I get a second as well. 1 in 24, 1 in 25. Well, I mean, the going rates, low 20s. Mike Evans, Amari Cooper. I mean, Amari's making 20. I don't see if you're Mike Evans how you can take less than that. So now we're in the low 20s. But if you're my boss and you convince me you got to keep Mike Evans, I'd offer him 3 for 63. First 2 years guaranteed. Yes or no? If he says no, I'd move on. I know he does RCB, but I mean, look at the Bucks. After this year, he's going to be 31, 32, and 33 in those 3 years. What are they going to look like in those 3 years? See, my fear is the Bucks time frame and Evans's time frame don't match up. Little college here?
Sure. The only thing I was going to ask you coming out, just one quick NFL question is, if you have these two teams as your number one seeds, who's your NFL MVP?
No. That's a great question. That is a great question, Mark.
Thank you. That's why I said it before. I wanted to give you half a second to think about it.
Man, that's good. I'm not smart enough for that.
Well, Adam, that's what I'm getting at, by the way. It's exactly what I'm getting at.
It'd be either him or
Dak Prescott.
There you go.
I'll throw up in my mouth if don't do that to me.
It's come on.
Got to tell you, it really would be hilarious if the Packers win this weekend. That would be funny.
It's my favorite game on the board.
Yeah.
It's the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. If you're in the market for a diamond, there's only one place to go, and that is to Todd and Jason's place, the Diamond District. In Estero. Great diamonds, great service, great prices. Don't know what else you're looking for, quite frankly.
Maybe a pick. Jason said he was on the Lions last night.
Huh? Once again, I mean, they wear jerseys sometimes at work on a casual Friday. So, you go in there with yours, strike up a conversation. You asked me a question during the break, and for about a minute and a half, my head was just spinning. The chin was on the ground. You messed me up.
Well, I just kind of looked at my NFL picks.
Right.
And my 1 seeds are Philadelphia and Kansas City. I really went out on a limb with my 1 seeds.
Right. The 2 teams who played in the Super Bowl last year. Right.
And I have Philadelphia getting back to the Super Bowl. So Jalen Hurts, because I do have Philadelphia with the best record in the NFL, Jalen Hurts is my MVP based on what I've written down and just kind of looked at it. But you have Jacksonville and Detroit as your 1 seeds.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Say it loud. Say it proud. I have the Jags and the Lions as the top seed entering the playoffs. That's right. I took a couple mid-majors.
He's driving to the airport today screaming, Duval. But if those are your 2 1 seeds, and I know you're not picking Jared Goff to be your MVP.
No, I am not.
So who is your MVP?
Well, it would have to be one of 2 quarterbacks. It would either have to be Trevor Lawrence of the Jags, with them having the best record in the AFC, and Jacksonville will be playing San Francisco, Buffalo, Cincinnati, and Kansas City this year. So he will have some high-profile games. I believe the Cincinnati game's a Monday Night Football game in early December. There might be a few people that watch that. Next week, he's going to play Mahomes and the Chiefs. Few people may pay attention to that. In fact, right now, Mark, if you had to wager, where is CBS going to be next week? Where are they going to send Nance and Romo? I'll wager right now they send him to Jacksonville.
Oh, yeah.
So, but Mark, the team I have is the 2 seed in the NFC playoffs. Few people talk about them. In fact, if Aaron Rodgers hadn't gone to the Jets, all this talk that the Jets are getting on the 4-letter network, you do know the quarterback and the team they would be talking about nonstop.
Yes, they would, David.
It would be Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys.
That's your MVP?
Well, remember, the MVP oftentimes is a popularity contest amongst the media. Their choice is Trevor Lawrence or Dak Prescott. Their choice is a Jag or a Cowboy. Late season games, by the way, for Dallas. Second to last game of the regular season, the Cowboys host the Lions, by the way. Buck and Aikman will be on the call. It's Saturday, December 30th. We don't have a Monday night game that week because it's January 1st is Monday. So they moved the Monday game to Saturday. The Saturday game is Lions-Cowboys. Dak is in Dak's final 6 games: Seattle, Philly, Buffalo, Miami, Detroit, and he bookends his home stretch with games against the Commanders. Challenging, but very high profile. I'll go Trevor Lawrence close, but since I've got Dallas in the Super Bowl, losing to the Bills, there's a part of me that thinks, you know what? Why don't we just go all blankety blank and pick Dak for MVP? And then he'll be entering a contract year.
I would say they're not high-profile games, but just be careful of Aaron Rodgers because they have an easy schedule going down the stretch, and the momentum may build for Rodgers because they finished with the Falcons, the Texans, at the Dolphins, the Commanders, at the Browns, and at the Patriots. These are games that they're going to be heavily favored in. He could put up big numbers depending on where they are, and I don't think teams are going to have the luxury of sitting guys in the AFC. There's going to be far too much at stake all the way through the final game in the AFC as far as seeding in the postseason.
We said we think there's a likelihood the Jets get off to like a 3-3 start. Their opening schedule is challenging, but their schedule after that is very doable.
They go Bills at Cowboys, Patriots, Chiefs to get things going before that game at Denver, where that's the biggest game of the season for the Denver Broncos.
Hey, a couple of college games quickly. At the end of the day, A&M Miami. Okay, two programs who have been underachieving, high-profile, big-money coaches, the whole deal. The loser's going to get just lambasted. And the winners maybe, hey, this year's going to be very different than last, blah, blah, blah. I mean, both teams went 5-7 last year, right? I mean, wow. So A&M at Miami, 3:30, be hot. It'll be humid, but hey, College Station is hot and humid also.
Right.
Right.
I'm going to take A&M because of how big their lines of scrimmage are. I think they're going to be able to handle Miami, whose lines are good but young.
This is a game where Miami's quarterback has to win.
Yes, he does.
Because I don't think they will be able to consistently run the ball. I think ultimately it's going to be on his shoulders.
Can he do it?
I'll take A&M close. Also, and this is where I'm sorry, Jimbo Fisher, Bobby Petrina, much better game day coaches than Mario Cristobal. That Mario's weakness is the 60 minutes they play. He is not considered a good game day coach. Jimbo can coach. You say whatever you want about it. Jimbo can coach. And Jimbo and Bobby Petrino, they can call plays.
And I'll take Alabama. I just think Texas, I think losing Robinson, I think that's obviously a big deal. I think the game being on the road, I'd love to see Texas win it because it would just throw the whole SEC into upheaval. But I don't think Texas has the horses to get it done in Alabama on Saturday.
I like Alabama also, but I'm not as sold on the Alabama quarterback. I mean, who'd they play last week? And all of a sudden, this guy is a player? I mean, I'm sorry. I saw him last year. He could not throw at all. At all. He could not throw the ball. It was embarrassing, actually, him throwing the ball. And now all of a sudden, he's a terrific thrower? I ain't buying it. I'm sorry. I'm not.
And I hope you're right about UCF and Boise. I really do. I think you are. I'll take UCF, but it would be a really nice win to go to Boise and get that done.
Yes. Boise got embarrassed week 1 against Washington, lost by 5 touchdowns. I mean, they're a home dog. Boise State's a home underdog. And it'd be nice, though. I mean, if you're UCF, okay, if you got the better quarterback, you got a coach who's coached in the national championship game before. Okay, if you're in the Big 12 now, okay, go play like it. You've got more talent. Go win the damn game. They lost a couple games last year. They should not have lost. And Gus's first 2 years, actually, you ask a UCF fan, they're like, I actually thought they might have been a touch better. We should have been in that conference championship game last year. We blew that. So go get the W there, big fella.
I'm with you. It's a nice test to see where you stand. And this is a test. If you're going to be a legit member of the Big 12 and you're going to play in a bowl game, then you have to go win this football game on Saturday.
Absolutely. So I'm laying the 3.5. It's one of my 6 picks. So come on, UCF. Don't disappoint me.
Need to have a September to remember. I've heard that somewhere before. The good, the bad, and the ugly, what's on tap. Today was a day one. It's how we finish the week off right here on Miller and Moulton.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, Give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Diamond District.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Felipe has the Heat and the Lakers in the Super Bowl, Joe. My guess is the whole show he's been watching Germany and USA.
I tweeted it earlier, but I watched Bogdanovich absolutely cook Canada.
He cares more about the FIBA World Basketball Championships than he does this show.
It's just my field. That's all. I mean,
No. During 6 to 10, your field is Miller and Moulton, but it's all relative.
Hey, by the way, if you missed Miller Moulton's picks, they're up on the FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Check it out now. Lee's picks are there as well.
I allow you to cut and paste that pretty easily, too.
Yeah, I put a nice graphic together,
Good.
Yeah. You can see on our Twitter account who Miller and Moulton picked to win the Super Bowl, respectively. Look at McAfee.
The hell of a tease with the NFL picks. Neither of us have the Dolphins going anywhere, and you got Dolphins graphics behind our Super Bowl picks. Felipe has the Dolphins playing the Dolphins in the Super Bowl, I would think.
My Super Bowl prediction last year was so terrible. I honestly am scared to make another one. I had the Packers and the Raiders in the Super Bowl last year. Just awful, awful. when Brett Favre played his first season away from the Packers, was there nearly as much hype?
Yeah, and they were doing just fine until he got hurt.
They really, yeah, they were.
Well, there wasn't as much. There was not as much hype because the ESPN train wasn't all in.
Right, the coverage wasn't as vast.
Right.
But, I mean... And then what? Because he played 3 years in Minnesota? Whatever, but didn't they blow it in the NFC Championship game? Yeah. I won't mention it in case there's any Vikings fans listening.
Adam, can they just beat the Chicago so I can win my game that I bet? That's all I really care about. I just need them to beat Chicago this week. Sturger, right? Hops. Probably not, they got them to come have Alabama come to them.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for listening. If you miss any of the show, go to floridasportsnetwork.com where you can download any portion. Lee Sterling on the show made his picks. Those are posted at floridasportsnetwork.com along with David and my picks for this week. We'll get our season-long NFL picks up there at some point today. I've got to wait for David to make a flight and type them to me because I have enough trouble writing down the Fantastic Five that turns into 9 with David some days. But we'll get those picks up as well.
'Tis the season for traveling David.
Oh, yeah.
It's no joke what he does.
It's a lot of flying, but to sit 50-yard line seats for the games that he does
makes it all worth it.
I'll take the trip. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Most of us would do that one for free. That's a great job, and good by him for having that. And obviously, it helps us out a great deal on this show as well. All right, lots to get to. Let's get after it.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Michelangelo's statue of David is unveiled in Florence today in 1504. I was going to make an off-color comment about a body part during that with David here, but since he had to jump a flight, I'll leave it alone because Felipe would just giggle. 1858, Abraham Lincoln supposedly says in a speech, you may fool all the people some of the time. You can even fool some of the people all the time, but you can't fool all the people all of the time. Today in 1894, William Dixon films the first boxing match, an exhibition between the champion James Corbett and Peter Courtney. 1916, Woodrow Wilson signs the Emergency Revenue Act, doubling the rate of income tax and inheritance and profits tax. 1921, the first Miss America was crowned in Atlantic City, Margaret Gorman, 16 years old, of Washington, D.C. 1939, at the age of 20, Bob Feller is the youngest to win 20 games. 1941, in World War II, the siege of Leningrad began. Over 1 million lives lost. 1952, Hemingway publishes The Old Man and the Sea. 1958, Roberto Clemente ties the modern record of 3 triples in a game. More impressive, 3 home runs in a game, 3 triples in a game, or hitting for the cycle.
Oh, man. 3 triples is insane. I mean, 3 triples takes the most effort.
Absolutely.
Because it's a hustle play.
And an unbelievable hitting play. You're having to hit the ball to gaps and run it out.
Right.
To see just to see a triple at a game is so rare.
It's exciting. It gets the crowd going.
Today in 1960, the nationwide release of Psycho. 1963, Braves future Hall of Famer Warren Spahn ties Christy Mathewson with 13 20-win seasons. Today in 1965, Bert Campaneris, then with the Kansas City A's, plays all 9 positions in one game.
Stop. Are you serious?
I just made it up. I thought for today was a day when I just would make up the random story.
Oh
yes,
my
Bert
goodness.
Campaneris played in all 9 positions in one game.
He caught and pitched.
Correct.
And then played the whole field. That's incredible.
Also in 65, small ads in the Daily Variety and Hollywood Reporter attract 437 young men interested in performing in the world's first manufactured boy band, the Monkees. Davy Jones had already been cast. NBC premiered Star Trek today in 1966. Today in 68, Arthur Ashe wins the first open-era U.S. title in 5 sets. Today in 1969, Margaret Court wins her 3rd U.S. title and 16th Grand Slam singles event. 72, Fergie Jenkins wins his 20th game for the 6th straight season. Today in 74, Connors wins his first of 5 U.S. Opens. It was the last time the U.S. Open was played on grass. And also that day, you may remember Evel Knievel attempting to jump the Snake River. He didn't make it. Also in 74, President Ford pardoned Nixon. Really wouldn't work out well for him. Tracy Austin becomes the youngest U.S. champion of the Open at 16 years and 9 months, beating Chris Evert today in 1979. Today in 84, Martina beats Chrissy to retain her title. Pete Rose ties Ty Cobb at 41-91 today in 1985. And Lendl takes down McEnroe in straight sets for the Open crown. Today in 1986, the Oprah Winfrey Show is first broadcast nationally. A. Bartlett Giamatti becomes the Major League Baseball commissioner today in 1988. Gabriella Sabatini wins the Open in 90. Stefan Edberg in 91. Pete Sampras in 96. American Beauty would win Best Picture in 2000, released today in 1999. Venus would defend her title in 2001, beating her sister in straight sets. Today in 2002, Sampras wins his 14th and final Grand Slam title, beating Agassi in 4 sets. And David Carr, for the Houston Texans, throws for 2 touchdowns as the Texans beat the Cowboys to become only the 2nd expansion team to win their inaugural game, the other, the 61 Vikings. Federer in 08 wins his 5th consecutive U.S. Open. Serena defends her title today in 2013. Stephen Colbert debuts as the new host of The Late Show today in 2015. It was today in 2018 that Naomi Osaka beats Serena Williams when Serena had to defend Naomi after the match, basically, for winning.
That was a super dramatic match. Very emotional.
Rafi wins his 19th Grand Slam title and his 4th U.S. crown today in 2019, and it was a year ago that Queen Elizabeth II died after ruling for 70 years, the longest-serving monarch in the UK. Peter Sellers, Patsy Cline, Elsie Greenwood, all born today. Bernie Sanders is 82, Lem Barney 78. Running back Anthony Davis is 71, Mo Cheek 67, and Pink is 44 years old today.
I love how you said running back Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I did that so you wouldn't. That was for you.
I didn't even know there was a
USC
Anthony
great.
Latrell Sprewell. It's his birthday today. It's my one NBA tidbit. Right
hey, that's pretty good to limit you to 1.
Yep.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Inglewood for the good, where Deborah Bennett was out in the water at Stump Pass Beach State Park when a rip current grabbed her and whisked her away. Fortunately for her, she was saved by a pontoon boat. They threw a rowboat out for help as she was getting pulled out to sea. She said, I never even got their names, but I want to thank them profusely for possibly saving my life. And she says, if it ever happens to you, don't panic. Let the water take you out. When it's safe to, swim parallel to the shore and back in. For the bad, we go to Australia, where an Australian nursery lost about $4,000 worth of plants. Finally had to get some cameras up to figure out what was going on. And it turned out it was a koala bear.
Oh. He's just hungry, you know.
That's it.
I mean,
better fences.
Big pantry, you know.
Well said, Felipe. Well said. For the ugly, we go back to Fort Myers, where a horrible, rotten person went into Pet Kingdom and walked out of the store with a baby bird. Apparently, the bird's only 3 months old, needs to be bottle fed with formula to survive, so the odds are the $800 bird that was stolen Sunday is probably already dead.
Now, did he just open the cage, grab it, and go? I mean,
There's a woman. She opened the cage, put it inside her jacket, and left. She was in the store for about 20 minutes, asking questions and holding birds, and somehow managed to steal the bird.
Crazy bird lady.
Definitely the crazy bird lady. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, September the 8th, 2023.
See, there's crazy cat lady, and then there's crazy bird lady. Oof.
My only worry is my daughter's love of cats. I just have to make sure she never becomes crazy cat lady. She, and it's crazy cats lady, because there's never a crazy lady that has one cat.
Right.
It's usually somewhere between 8 and 47.
You just got to be careful, because if she ever wants to feed one, you have to limit that amount, because then she's going to want to feed 2 and then 3 and then crazy cat lady.
Trust me, we have 2 cats. I'm well aware. Day baseball today, Diamondbacks and Cubs, big game for both, as the Cubs still trying to close in on the Brewers and the Diamondbacks trying to hold on to that final playoff spot in the National League. Mariners and the Rays back at it again. Bradley on the bump for the Rays. And the Marlins travel to Philadelphia as the schedule does not get any easier for the Marlins. Big series with Philadelphia, half game back in the wild card. I don't know how many it's going to take in the National League. I really don't. 4 games above 500 right now for the Marlins. I don't know if it's going to be much more than 84, 85 games to get in. But this series with Philly, at some point they're going to have, they just beat the Dodgers 2-3. That was big. Can they do it again with the Phillies?
At least 2. Because like you said, you got to finish with at least 85 wins if you're making the playoffs here.
I think so. I really do. See what else we got tonight. I mean,
more U.S. Open tonight.
That's right. We got the men's semis start at 3:00 this afternoon. And then the nightcap tonight for the men's semis at the U.S. Open. College football tonight as well. Illinois and Kansas. Kansas is a 3-point favorite in that game. The other one's Indiana and Indiana State. I'm guessing that, and I'm right, that's on the Big Ten Network. If you're watching that, then you may have a problem. If you're not an alum of one of the 2 schools and you're watching, because there's not a line, so you can't even bet the game. At least with Illinois and Kansas, you got a 3-point spread. Kansas a 3-point favorite in that one. David and I made our NFL picks for the season this show. If you missed it, you can download it. I will let you know that David has the Dallas Cowboys losing to the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl. I have the Bengals beating the Eagles for the Super Bowl win. That's a little bit of what's going on tonight. As our picks this week, to review, David going with Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, and Seattle on Sunday. Tulane, Oklahoma State, and UCF are his 3 college games. That's a fantastic 5+1 for David. I also picked Tulane and Jacksonville. I've got the Jets plus 2.5 over the Bills, the Packers beating the Bears, and I took the over in the USC Stanford. A little bird told me that likes to gamble a lot. Take the over on USC every week. They're trying to win somebody a Heisman, and they're going to let them sling it around the lot all season long. I don't think that's a bad play. Lee Sterling on the show today picked Florida State laying the big number 31 against Southern Miss. Alabama laying 7 against Texas. He picked Miami in the points, says Miami will win outright against A&M, says the Jets will win against Buffalo, and he likes the Dolphins as well as an outright winner over the Chargers for Lee Sterling. All of us with lousy weeks last week, so I have no idea how you're supposed to take week 2 for Miller, Moulton, and Lee Sterling with our picks. First weekend of the NFL, got off to a great start last night. The Lions with a tremendous win, doing it with defense. We'll see how that plays out in the over-unders for week 1. As everybody thought that game was going to be a complete shootout last night, it was the total opposite. It was a defense. It was a little bit of a grind game. The Lions coming up with big stops in the second half, and they get the win against Kansas City, and Lion fever has started. Are you buying in, or is it a week 1 overreaction? We'll get to all of the overreactions on Monday as the NFL kicks off in earnest on Sunday with obviously everyone playing other than the Thursday night game. And it should be a tremendous, tremendous slate. The Dolphins and the Chargers. David took the Dolphins. I took the Chargers. To me, this is already a wild card tiebreaker. This is a monster game, and the Dolphins' offensive line banged up to start the season. We'll see how that plays out. A reminder, if you missed any of the show, go to floridasportsnetwork.com. You can download any portion that you missed. Have a sensational weekend. Enjoy all of the football. We'll be back again Monday morning, 6 a.m., right here on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years